Welcome to Empirical Pre-Pod. I'm your host, Tim Dave. Thank you so much for continuing this journey with me, where I get to sit and talk to all my favorite people. You guys remember the drill. Don't forget to like, follow, share, subscribe, whatever is going on out there. Let's get into today's episode. All right, we're here with Meg. Man, I hate myself so much, and I'm so sick of talking about my married friends. My inkling is always, obviously, to say their maiden name, because that's what I grew up with. So we're here with Meg Bivens, quote unquote.
Yeah, quote unquote. Now Stickney.
Meg Stickney.
Yes.
Which is an easy one, because I've known Dan probably longer, actually, I think since like 6th grade.
Yeah, but I transitioned from one strange last name into another one that I still have to spell.
Do you think, is Bivens tough? Was it tough?
Yeah, I had a teacher that used to call me like Megan Beavis, and I don't know if he was doing it because he is an ass.
Yeah.
But I think he was just stupid. I don't really know.
I guess realistically, like before last night, I was typing up making your own little folder to put the audio in.
Yeah.
On my computer, and I was like, Meg Bivens.
And
then I went to Facebook, and I was like, fucking Stickney.
Yeah. Bivens, whatever.
Yeah.
Megan, whatever.
Yeah. Well, when you say Meg, it makes me think of Family Guy.
Which I love.
Really?
Yes.
I'd be like, shut up, Meg.
Yeah. No one says that to me, and I wish they did.
I can't believe that.
Or if they say "shut up, Meg," I don't think they realize what they're referencing.
Yeah, they just
even though they're not referencing it, but I'm like,
please stop talking.
Yeah, but I'm like, awesome.
I feel like there's a certain level of sweetheart / I will punch you in the throat energy. So maybe people are a little like, I don't know.
Do you think so?
Not really, but
yes, there is.
I feel like you and my sister are similar, where you guys can be sweet as pie, but there's a line somewhere, and I don't want to cross it.
Right, and you're not exactly sure where it is.
Right, yeah.
But like
it might move minute to minute.
Yeah, it's like, watch their face. I can't tell. I might get throat punched. I'm not sure what's going to happen.
Do you have like a resting bitch face? Like, my sister cannot hide her emotions on her face.
So you can definitely you can tell when I'm irritated or when I think something is like really strange.
Yeah.
But growing up with like my group of friends, and they don't say it anymore, but they used to call it the pissed face. And I was like a resting. It was kind of before resting bitch face became a thing, which I guess maybe that's what it was. They're like, you just look pissed. They're like, and I'm like, I'm not pissed.
You're like, I'm having a good time.
Yeah,
Shut
and
up.
I'm like, I just don't want to smile.
Yeah.
Just let me sit here.
I mean, that does bother people when you're just kind of vibing. And you're like, everything's fine. Like, I'm sorry about my face.
Yeah, like you see those things like online about like if you're at a meeting and you're like the person that you can tell like on the face what's going on.
Yeah.
Like I think I have a serious like eye rolling problem. And I think at my work now, I think they're just kind of like, I think it's happening, but I think they just kind of ignore it.
Yeah, they're just used to it now.
Right.
Don't even engage her, guys.
You can read my face when I'm just.
So, I mean, certain people can really pull the energy of a room, and some people can do that with a look or just a presence as they walk in. Like, and you're like, holy shit, what just happened to the room?
Right.
So I mean, it makes sense. Like.
Well, even that, like it happens with me, like at a restaurant. Like if there's just some really, I don't know why I notice it, but like there's some really awkward thing going on, and then my face, and then Dan will be like, "What's bothering you?" And I'm like, "Over there." He's like, "Can you just like not pay attention to everything that's happening around you?" I'm like, they're fighting. I'm like, something's going on. He's like, "Just eat." Right. Like, just don't worry about it. And I'm like, I can't. No, I feel awkward. I'm worried. I'm concerned. What's going on? Like, not that I'm eavesdropping, but I'm just like.
Do you think that you're like, have you always been like empathetic that way?
I think so, and I think like
because you're hyper aware of what's happening.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it can be like a bad thing. Like sometimes that it like triggers the anxiety.
I say it can be overwhelming.
Yeah, and then I'm like, my mind's like, oh my god, something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then Dan, I'm so thankful I met him because he's like so chill.
Yeah.
Like, and he's like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
I feel like
I feel better.
Like, all right, Dave, maybe you're a little too chill.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you should worry once in a while.
Yeah, it's funny, like, as you get older, like, empathy and stuff. I never, like, when you're younger, you think, like, oh, I've got issues. And I'm like, oh, I'm super sensitive, pity party, this and that. And then you get older and you're like, no, like, you're just sensitive and hypersensitive to things, and that's okay. And I guess that's part of, like, the caring side of my personality or whatever. But
not for nothing, we kind of grew up I'm hoping we're at the tail end of kind of disregarding that sort of thing.
Right.
As kids grow up, where it's like, we say, don't be so sensitive, or you're so
Right.
sensitive.
Right.
And now we're like, oh, okay, this is a hyper emotional person that's very in tune with what's happening, like, and let's nurture that as opposed to tell them to stop.
Right.
And try to snuff it out.
Well, and we grew up too in a generation that, you know, unfortunately our parents grew up with like, tuck that stuff away.
Right.
Don't talk about it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately that came to us, and now our generation, raising the new generation, they have their own set of issues, you know, with social media and stuff like that.
That's true.
But they are recognized more, like
Yeah.
their emotions and things are recognized more, which I think is a good thing.
I've always admired our generation. Like, millennials get a bad rap, but the millennials are the first ones to be like, no, listen to what I'm saying.
Right.
This is not okay. And
Right.
Because if you look at Gen Xers, they're pretty beat down and depressed at this point.
I would say.
Because they weren't allowed, they didn't say anything.
Right.
And we're like, no, I'm not going that route. We're
No.
going to speak up.
Yeah.
And the kids after us are doing it even better and bigger, which
Right.
I'm a big fan of.
Yeah, it's been a positive move. So
Yeah.
I
Have
agree.
you lived in Oswego your whole life? Did you start there?
Yeah, I
Really?
I never moved. I didn't move. I moved for like 2 months.
Yeah.
And then I came back home, and I didn't move out of Oswego until I moved in with Dan.
Wow.
So
Were
yeah,
you-
like same house, same bedroom.
Were you a Boulder Hill kid from the beginning?
Boulder Hill. Yep. On Circle Drive West. Yep.
Yeah.
My parents still live there.
Really?
Yep. I still have friendships with the people I grew up with.
Yeah.
Went to the same elementary school that my mom went to.
Even your parents are from here?
Well, my dad's from East Aurora.
Yeah.
Born and raised, so it's always
So,
funny, like
one town over.
yeah, so like it's funny, like I try not to go to the inn,
Yeah.
but if I do,
We all try to not go
right,
there.
right, but if I do, I damn well know I'm gonna run into someone that'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
you're like, my mom's kid or this, that, or whatever, and I'm like,
Well, you guys are part of a clan. I feel like there's a few of them that are like widespreading.
right,
The Bivens, the Walshes, the
Yeah.
Leasers.
yeah,
I don't even put, like, I don't know if they're a lot centralized here, but every time I talk to Schmidt, he's got so many goddamn cousins and family members.
it's more so like my family, it's more like family friends, because my mom's
Yeah.
an only child,
Right.
so I have
That's right. Well,
five.
she's best friends with Mary, right?
Right. So I mean,
yeah.
like Mary is like my Aunt Mary, so it's
Yeah.
Aunt Mary and Uncle Kim, and then
Which is just funny. It sounds so funny to say that.
doesn't it? Yeah. And I was like, I'm just like, I started calling her Aunt Mary like 2 years ago, and I was
Yeah.
like, because I'm just like, my mom's from Mary. I was like, you know what, screw it. I was like, she's like my mom's sister. She's Aunt Mary. She's known me like my whole life. So,
Yeah.
and then growing up with Mike and Dan, and yeah, so they're like brothers to me. And,
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's crazy. So you went to Thompson Junior High?
Yep. I was a Tiger.
Is that what their thing is?
Yeah.
I feel like Panther could beat the shit out of a Tiger.
Oh, whatever. Chopper sucks. Here we go.
Yeah.
At it already. Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. But did you find it easy to make friends? I mean, Boulder Hill had so many people came up right there.
Right.
So it had to be relatively easy to make friends with everybody.
Right.
I know that there's the original kindergarten crew of like Andy and T and
Yep.
Walston.
Mrs. Crace's class. Yep. I
Yeah.
had her as a teacher too.
Did you know all those guys? Was that the same school, or is there two schools in Boulder Hill?
No. So, I knew more about them.
I know you're a
like
little younger
in
also,
high
right?
school. Yeah, 3 years younger. So
Okay,
it was
yeah.
more like when I was a freshman and stuff. But yeah, never connected that like in grade school and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, a lot of us had like the same teachers, and
Right.
it was because like Eastview and Tropper was not within
Did you guys
Boulder
go
Hill.
to Eastview?
No. So we all went to Boulder Hill or we went to Long
Yeah.
Beach.
Okay, those are the two schools.
Those are the two Boulder Hill schools, yep. And then we pretty much all went to St. Luke's Lutheran Church for preschool, I think.
Really?
I think we all did.
That's funny.
I have like 6 of my friends that I grew up with that were in my preschool class.
You still talk to all those people?
Yeah, like
just
if I see them
Sure,
or
yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
yeah.
Or at
Oh,
least
yeah,
you
for sure.
follow them on Facebook. You're like, that's good enough.
Yeah, like cool. You got a dog.
I see what your life is.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it'll be cool to catch up, but
Yeah.
I see your life.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip the reunion. Facebook's good enough if I'm
Yeah.
interested. If I want to know everything.
I do feel like Facebook has killed reunions.
Absolutely.
I didn't get, like, there's just 0 point anymore.
Absolutely.
Because I've gotten to see the last 20 years of your bullshit. Save me that conversation.
Yeah. Well, I'm just like, growing up in Oswego, it's like I would see all of these people that I've known for majority of my life.
Yeah.
But it's like, if I'm not, I mean, it's not that I don't care about you, but if I'm not friends with you on Facebook, I'm probably not going to talk to you there either. Or I'm just going to be my awkward self like I was my junior and senior year, and it's going to be me and like my 3 girlfriends, and we're just going to be sitting at a table. They'd be like, well, they're up to their same shit. They're just sitting over there, you know?
Yeah. Not for nothing, too. Like, at this point, we've all been on Facebook for over 10 years.
Right.
If we're not friends now on Facebook, we're definitely not friends in real life.
Right. If I see you at the grocery store, I might just look at you, but that's
like,
probably it.
I know you, but don't come
I'm just
over.
going to awkwardly pass by.
Yeah. It is
Yeah.
kind of funny.
Yeah, so it was Boulder Hill and then Thompson, and then, I went to Oswego. I think we were the last full graduating class before they put the schools in half.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not realize you were that little.
Yeah.
In my head, I was like, they're like a year, maybe 2 years younger than us.
Yeah, no, it was like,
I also
3.
didn't realize East has been around that long.
Yeah, 2005,
Wow, really?
they split it, yeah. It was a long day.
Yeah.
It was a long day, and I didn't want to go to my walk, and my mom's like, you're not getting a damn party unless you get your ass up there and get that diploma. I was like, okay. Oh, and I had a ticket to fill, and I think Dan Walsh came. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did.
Listen, if there's one good adjective for Dan Walsh, it's filler.
Yeah. Oh, Dan's the best.
Dan is the best.
I love Dan.
I also love Dan, but he's also fun to razz as much as possible.
Oh, but he's so good at giving it back, though.
He's so subtle at giving it back.
Right.
And you don't realize that you've just been like torched.
Right.
Until a minute
right.
later, and you're like, Dan, you.
Yeah, he is like the sneakiest smartass.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what was school like for you? Like, did you enjoy school, or were you just like, I just gotta get through this?
So high school was kind of difficult.
I think you probably started transitioning as you get older, right?
Right. So like when I was a freshman, I had like a different group of friends because I got involved in like cheerleading and stuff, and it was super fun.
Yeah. Well, that would make sense too, because you kind of grew up with this group since
Right,
preschool,
right.
And now a whole new group of kids are coming in high school.
Right. So, because like when I was in 6th grade, I was like hanging out with what you would call the skater crew in high school.
Right.
So I'll name drop. It was like Jay and Faber. Well, not Faber, but I used to hang out with him at Club Friday.
Yeah. I like that you say Jay. Like everybody didn't just go, well, there's like 12 of those.
Yeah. Jack.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, I've known him since like 2nd grade. We went
Yeah.
to church together.
It's funny because I would have never thought of Jack when you said Jay.
Oh really? See, that's
That's
so
the
weird. Everybody
difference,
calls
yeah.
like Faber calls him Jack. I'm like that's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah.
I
Well,
can't-
so
I can't
Jason
do it.
started calling him Jack too because there's so many J's.
Whatever. I'll just talk about people.
Yeah.
So I was a freshman, and then I was into like cheerleading, Olva's Palms, did football and basketball, and then I was okay at school, and then I think like my sophomore year, I'm an open book, so like I kind of started recognizing like maybe I was having like some depression and stuff. So I went and like my mom was great about it and like took me to like talk to somebody or whatever, and then I was okay, and I like got into church again, and
Yeah.
I'm sure Maggie said too. We met at youth group, which
She
is
did.
absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
Instantly connected with her, which is why we're still best friends.
She's one of the best people that I feel like you could know.
Like
Not only is she like awesome, then she's an absolute badass also.
she is seriously like the best in the world.
Yeah.
I just love her.
I love that she's thriving so well out in Chicago, but I secretly wish she was around here.
Yeah, I know, dude. You have no idea. We have to travel to see each other, but yeah, she's a super badass. So that was okay, and then like junior year, I don't know, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and I really, honestly, as crazy as it sounds, I don't really remember a whole lot of school.
Yeah.
Like junior and senior year, like I did not want to go to school. Like I had an issue with authority.
Right.
Like one of the teachers that he like wanted me on a team,
Yeah.
like a sports team, and I said no, and he was in history, and he made me so mad. I got out of my chair, and he goes, "Where are you going, Bivens?" And I flicked him off, and I said, "I fucking hate your class," and I just walked out. Like that's like it's defiant, but that's not something normal. Like
It's not?
I don't think somebody would do that. I mean, maybe now, but I
Yeah.
think back then it wasn't like it was absolutely like I literally used to walk out of that school.
Yeah.
I actually, one of the stories that people used to talk about is when I was I think I was a senior in high school. I was getting out like the horticulture hall.
Yeah.
You know, I was leaving and one of the security guards saw me, and I was in pretty good shape at that time, and I ran like around the school, and he chased me.
Really?
And he chased me, and I like ran over to Gas City.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but I never got in trouble for it.
Yeah.
Like it was just like, you know, like is what it is kind of thing. But like I used to come up with like characters to call me into school.
Yeah. Did you call yourself?
Yeah.
As a character?
Yeah, and I think the truancy officer actually showed up to my parents' house once. If I
You missed a
remember.
lot of school.
I missed a lot of school,
Yeah.
and so what I ended up doing.
You gotta be
is-
careful, kids. If you too many days off, they're gonna come look for you.
Or, right. Yeah, I'm surprised. Well, back then they didn't send out search parties, but now they probably would.
Yeah.
But so I decided kind of like I was going through that, but I was trying to find like my independence, and I realized like I cannot sit in a classroom and have all this interaction and have someone try to teach me something I'm not interested in.
Right.
Like I really struggled with that.
Yeah.
So I ended up going to night school.
I think it's important to even be able to see that. Like, I don't know if you listened to the show, but my friend Sarah in second grade was like, told her parents, like, I don't want to go to school. I don't like the lights. I don't like sitting. I don't like the structure. I am not learning here.
Right.
And I'm like, a second grader. But her parents were receptive and pulled her out, and she was homeschooled, self-schooled.
That's awesome.
Until like junior high or something. She went back years later. It's like,
Wow.
yeah, like that's insane. It's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
But it's like, to me, it's critical when you're presented with that information that you do something constructive with it.
Right. Right.
Just for the benefit of your children.
Yeah. Yeah. And my parents were like, you know, if that's what you want to do, it's what you want to do. So I went to night school the second half of my junior year.
Yeah.
I did great. People will say like, oh, you don't learn enough in there, blah, blah, blah. I learned plenty.
Yeah.
Like, and I was able to do it on my own. And then I was working.
Right.
So I was going to school, but I was also like making more money
So
than anybody
did you
else.
work during the day then?
Yeah.
So you have a full-time job.
Right,
And
right.
then work, as opposed to the rest of us who are schooling full-time and working part-time.
Right. Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What was it like, the shift then going to night school? It's got to be a lot more relaxed.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
you come in there and there's a couple teachers that like help you and stuff, but I
Yeah.
mean, it's like it's self-guided, like, you know, and you like become. I felt like I became more determined to learn,
Yeah.
and to get my things in on time,
Right.
like because assignments I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
you know, blow off. Like I don't give a shit.
That's
You're
how-
gonna get an
yeah.
F. I don't care.
My whole school career too was just like, I'm participating and listening, I'm getting the information that you're telling me, if I can relate to it, how you're talking, but I'm not doing any of the work.
Right.
Once
right.
I leave this room, I'm not thinking about this again.
Well, that was my thing too. I'm like, well, now I have to work, and I'm like, okay, I know it's part of growing up, but it's also that mental illness. I think too was kind of like the depression and stuff, and then like mania and stuff started happening. So it was kind of like I didn't want to do that, but then it started to like kind of ball up and roll, kind of like an avalanche thing too for me.
Do you
So it was
remember, was there a particular trigger for that first bout of depression? 'Cause it's pretty young to kind of be aware of it, and I'm sure it's probably more of a retrospect thing, because in the midst of it, you're like, what's happening? I just don't feel right.
Right. Right.
Do you remember anything particular that was going on at that time that may have caused that, or is it just it's a chemical imbalance, right? Sometimes it just happens.
Right. Well, I think it was maybe years of me like being depressed and just being
Probably
so
catching
young,
up,
like it's
yeah.
not recognized. Like there was some stuff like in my life, like there've been like a lot of like loss in my life and trauma. So like I think so like when I don't need to get depressing, but so when I was in fourth grade, my grandpa died, my mom's father, and we were super, super close with him.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I will probably never hold a man on a pedestal as high as I still hold him. So that was really hard because he was like, I never realized it, but he was like 64.
Right.
So that's really young, and at the time
Yeah.
you don't like realize it. So there was that, and then there was like some home stuff, and I just kind of ignored it, I guess, you know.
You don't know how to process it. Like, what are you supposed to do?
What do you?
You're a kid.
You're a kid. Like, and then then you turn 13, and then as we all know, you start going through these motions of your hormones and growing up and friendships changing and everything. And I think I was trying to make like a positive change in my life because I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
But then all of this other stuff kind of started pulling into it.
Right. And because at that time, like you said, you're stuck where you're stuck.
Right.
And you can't really get out of, like, you're in this abyss and you're clawing your way out just to keep your head above water.
Right.
But the world is still pouring water in. And even if they don't mean to, it's what's happening.
Yeah.
Like, even people that are trying to help aren't necessarily helping. You know,
Right.
it's amazing to have those people in your life, but like, this is something that's just happening to me.
Yeah.
And I can't explain it, and I appreciate you, but you're not helping.
Right, yeah, and I had trouble like expressing myself.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, people are gonna think I'm crazy. Like
Yeah.
that's, they're gonna, I still go to therapy today, and he's like,
Yeah.
my therapist, stop calling yourself crazy. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry.
I prefer a therapist who's like, you're a little crazy.
Yeah, right. The first one's like, somebody get this one out of here. Yeah, no, I think it was a thing of like just wanting to change things. Like I left, Palms and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and my group of friends changed, but not in a negative way because I met Maggie and I started
Right.
hanging out with like the skater crew and stuff, and
Yeah.
but I think it was just getting older and just stuff that I didn't deal with, and then I kind of felt like then with school, and then I was working and I was just kind of like pushing my mental health away, and I didn't realize how serious it was.
Yeah.
And until I started like thinking all these crazy things and then getting like so depressed. And like one of the things growing up, people that would come to my house, my room, and Maggie would probably tell you like, oh my God, her room. But I had clothes. I never kept food in my room, but I never put my clothes away.
Yeah.
And so as I got older, like in my 20s, I realized that wasn't me being lazy. That was my depression
Right.
all over the floor.
Yeah.
Right? And then people would say like, oh, she just, she's cleaning her room. That's good. No.
It's a
Like
trauma
I
response,
reorganized all of it.
Right.
I wanted to paint it. I got rid of clothes. Like I color coordinated everything.
Yeah.
That was mania.
Right.
Then I wanted to go buy stuff
Yeah.
to put in my room. It's like, and then a week later, there's stuff all over the room again.
Yeah.
And I don't do that anymore because I'm in a better place. And
Yeah.
it's really funny, like, recognizing that.
It's funny because it'll still show up. Like, if I get really, really antsy and really anxious, I'll start shaking my hands. Like,
So that's like a thing, yeah.
Yeah, but like even though it was a couple weeks, like last week for a few weeks, I was just like, I feel like just stuck. So I reorganized my whole room. I just ripped everything around, moved it all around, and put it back together. Which realistically did nothing but just shuffle the stuff around.
Right.
And
But it made you like feel like you released something,
exactly
right?
Like, now everything's fine.
Yeah. Then I'm gonna do it again in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. But see that, yeah. So yeah, I would do it, and then I would sit in my room, and I wouldn't leave because I'm just like, okay, like it's good.
I think the crux of it all is control.
Which.
And you feel like you're losing so much control outside of because you can't control any of it,
Right.
especially at that age. Is like, all right, this is my space.
Exactly.
As long as my parents aren't going to come and be dicks about it, this is my space.
Right.
Let me control what I can and do it, futz with it, make it however I want, as often as I want.
Yeah, and it was a part of my independence too. Like like you said, it was just like my space.
Yeah.
This is what I did. I can set up this how I want
Right.
to. I'm
Yeah.
good to go. Let me be happy for 24 hours.
And that's what it is.
Before I shift into my bullshit again.
That little semblance of control is really all it takes.
But see, I still struggle with that.
Yeah.
Like all my close friends would tell you, like I have control issues. Not in a negative aspect, like controlling people.
Sure.
But like I want to control every situation that I'm in because that's the only way that like I feel like comfortable.
Yeah.
Or confident, or not anxiety,
Yeah.
I think
a lot of it too, when you start recognizing your triggers, it can kind of push that the opposite way. Instead of like healthily being able to deal with them,
Right,
it
right.
also will be like, I know my triggers, if I can't have control, I'm not going to be able to relax.
Right.
So,
Yeah. My struggle is like trying not to think about it. Like I know I shouldn't like worry about it.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's just, yeah, like see my hands, like even thinking about it. I do the hand thing too. Yeah. But sorry to veer off. But yeah, so high school, I
Have
don't
you ever
really.
listened to the show? That's what the show is.
Yeah, I know.
Veering off.
But so yeah.
I should have called it Veering Off.
Veering off, yeah, that's a good. I like the other one better, but you can change it if you want to, a little subclause. But do you remember Mr. Can I say his name from school? Is that okay? Okay. Do you remember Mr. Mitchner?
Yeah, I never had him, but yeah, I knew him.
Yeah, so he was a counselor.
Yeah.
And so he made my days in school bearable.
Yeah.
He did. Like I think he passed away a few years ago, but a lot of people, you know, he recognized what students needed.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of people were like brush it off. Like,
Well, even
you
just
know,
like he saw students,
he saw
not a
you
bunch
as,
of kids.
He saw you as a person.
Exactly, and that's critical because a lot don't, especially back then.
Right.
A lot, you know, didn't. Unfortunately, the longer somebody's a teacher, sometimes
Right.
the less they care because they've
It's
done
the
it
hardest,
for so long.
one of the hardest freaking jobs in the world. I
Yeah,
couldn't
and
imagine.
it's definitely a thankless job, and
Yeah.
like the community doesn't rally behind you at all.
Right.
Like they might say, "Oh yeah, teachers are important," but then when it comes fiscally, they're like, "Ah, fuck yourself."
Right. Yeah. We don't need you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get paid too much. Why do you get a
Right.
summer off?
You're
It's
just
like,
you're just a babysitter.
I literally am raising your children and
Right.
teaching them things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's insane. When you've seen it from the inside, it's crazy.
Yeah, it is. But so he did this thing. He told me, like, if you feel like that at school, if you feel like you need to leave, he told my teachers, like, she's really kind of struggling with stuff,
Right.
and we're not, basically, essentially not trying to baby her, but I have to make sure that, like, she's taking care of her.
Right.
So he would have me come into his office, and he had, like, a fridge with a freezer in it, and he would take a bucket, and he would put ice water in it, cold ice water, and I would put my hands in it. And he's like, do you feel better now? Because I was doing that because it kind of hurt,
Right.
but it wasn't physically hurting myself.
Right.
So like I used to do that. So I stopped doing it and I started doing that.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome.
Right? It's
Yeah.
like someone at this man at school didn't
Yeah.
see me as a face in a yearbook.
Right.
I was Megan
Right.
and I was struggling,
Yeah.
you know, and he's actually the one who also suggested that I go to night school.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, I think you'll do so much better. You know, and I did. And I actually ended up going back my senior year. I came back to school my senior year. Changed, my group of friends changed. So it was,
Yeah.
you know, like Bridget and Sam and Bettina. Bettina and I started hanging out then. We didn't like each other when we were freshmen for some reason.
Really?
But yeah, I just remember we had an English class. I don't think we liked each other, but she had these white Vans with turtle shoelaces, and it's like embedded in my brain. So I always bring that up. Anyways, it's kind of strange. So I really struggled with school senior year, and I mean, like I did not go to school.
Yeah.
Like I did not go to school. So I said, okay, I was probably not going to graduate because of the credits and stuff and failing. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get a full-time job. So I got a job at Jewel Osco working in the deli. And so that was 2004. So like $8.50 an hour was
Yeah.
that was good cash for an
Yeah, I think
18-year-old.
I think it was like $6.50 was the minimum wage back then.
It was $6.
Was it?
It was $6. Yeah. So like I was balling.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm really gonna have to push myself to graduate. And some people really were like, there's no way she's gonna do it. Like there's no way. So I would work from 7 to 2:30. And then I would go to night school from 3:30 to 8. 5 days a week. I did that for a full semester. And I graduated with credits over what I needed.
Wow.
And the principal at the time, Mr. Colvin, I think, he was my principal in 6th grade to 8th grade. Then freshman year, when you guys were seniors or whoever that principal was.
Yeah.
Then Colvin came back in, and I'll never forget him giving my diploma, and he's like, I'm really proud of you. And I was like, awesome. I was like, I'm really proud of me too. Not sure if I'm gonna go to college,
Right.
but I'm really proud of me too. I'm gonna go make my money at Jewel Osco, goodbye.
Yeah. That's amazing, really. Like, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, like I proved something to myself.
Yeah.
Like you can actually like do this, and that has kind of carried with me through my adulthood is
Yeah.
like, you know, that was a really big deal for me. I mean,
Right.
I gave up my time to like
Yeah.
make sure that I graduated.
That's a lot for anybody. Like, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's a point too, like, because there's a lot going on behind the scenes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like there's a point where you're trying to, like, genuinely tell your brain, I don't have time for your bullshit. I have to get this stuff done.
Right.
Like, we will deal with you when we can.
Yeah.
I'm focused.
And I think that is one of the first times in my life that I felt that way, and I proved to myself that like you're not a piece of shit, like
Right.
how I was thinking. Not a lazy piece of shit. You're worth it. You should be here, and I did that.
Right. But you're also not your diagnosis either. Like,
Right.
whatever
It's not
somebody
going to
tells you.
define me.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this.
Right.
You know, and you know, a couple of years later, it freaking came back at me like.
It's like, okay,
You know,
bitch,
head
I'll
on,
show
like,
you.
okay, bitch, guess who? Knock, knock, I'm here.
I gave you
know?
your time. Yeah.
I gave you your rally. Now I'm going to take you down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then it came back, and it's a life struggle.
Yeah,
But I mean,
I'm sure it ebbs and flows like anything.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, it can be absolutely crippling. I'm always amazed at how it can like be triggered by the littlest nothing. Also, like, it's fascinating to me to think about and talk about, but it absolutely fucking sucks to live in.
Yeah. It's really weird. Like even like really big things you think would like trigger, it doesn't.
But then the
But
smallest
the
thing.
smallest little thing, I'm like,
Yeah, it's like a
you
speck
know?
of dust in a cog blows it up. But if the engine blows, you're like, we'll fix
It's like,
it.
you know,
Don't worry
it's
about
fine.
it.
I don't have control over that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Why is
Yeah.
there dust on the TV stand? You know,
Right.
like, yeah.
But it's 100% that control.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
This
It
should
is.
have been dusted at some point.
Yeah,
As
it is.
opposed to like, well, the house burned down. We'll figure it out.
It totally is. It totally is. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what you would say. I enjoyed high school. I enjoyed my time with my friends. I'm really grateful that I still have those friendships.
Yeah.
And the memories that I have a killer memory, and I don't know how after all the years of hanging out in the forest.
Debauchery.
Yeah. But I can remember everything. But yeah.
Did that start happening right after high school? Like, did you ever have any intention of going to college, or you just like this? I mean, realistically, you're already working full time, making a decent wage for the time.
No, I did try college. Again, like I'm like stuck in this room for in
Yeah.
college courses. They could be like 3 friggin' hours.
Right, and it's also like triple the people depending on what you're taking.
Yeah.
And it's like public school's already not focused on you.
Right.
This is really we don't have time for you.
Right. And I mean, I could have gone to like an actual like 4-year like university.
Yeah.
I actually got accepted to Northern Illinois. I'm
Oh,
not even
nice.
sure I ever told my parents that, but
Surprise!
surprise! I could have gone to college.
It'd be even better if you had a full ride scholarship.
Right? Yeah, they'd be like, God damn you! But I'm doing okay now. I'm one of those.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
Well, that's good. You made it 25 years later.
yeah, I'm an HR manager and I work in accounting. So
That is awesome,
I mean, I'm not stupid. It turns out, you know, and I don't have to put my hands in ice water anymore. But
Nice.
I tried Wabanzi,
Yeah.
and I just couldn't do it, you know. And I was kind of getting back into the depression and stuff, and I was like, this is interfering with this, and so
Yeah.
like I started working, and then I had like a few years where I wasn't the cream of the crop. Like I was struggling.
Yeah.
Like I used to think I was a piece of shit when that was happening, but I recognize now like you were just struggling.
Right.
Like, you know, I'm actually thankful that I'm still here because
Yeah.
it was getting to that point.
It's tough.
You know,
Yeah.
it is. And it's a really shitty feeling to have, but it's like, you know, but yeah, so that was like 19 and 20. And then things happened when I was 22 with like the car accident and stuff. So that kind of
I don't know
like,
anything about that.
No. I can talk about it.
It's
if
like
you
a
want.
myth at this point that I've like heard bits and pieces of,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know anything about it.
So, Sam had told me not to hide stuff because she's like, you've been through a lot and you've learned a lot. And I'm like, okay.
What's up to you? It's
Yeah.
100% up to you.
Yeah. I think
there's a benefit to me. It's twofold. One, so people can see what you've been through, and you're still an amazing person.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's critical to be like, we're all pretty fucking resilient.
Right. Oh God, we all
And then
are.
also
yeah.
to be like, whatever you've been through, we've been there.
Yeah.
Fucking reach out if you need to.
Right.
Like,
Right.
we've all stared at the abyss.
Right. No, absolutely. And it's interesting, like the myth thing, because I know like
Yeah.
everybody knows it happened, and it's like, you know, nobody wanted to ask. Everybody's just like, you know.
Yeah,
but
because
I mean,
you don't want to bring it up.
Yeah, it was a big thing, you know.
Right.
And so when I was 22, on the 4th of July, we were in Lake Holiday. We saw the fireworks. We were driving back home on Millbrook Road, and we came up to Millbrook and Millington. Now, I don't remember any of this. We were hit by a drunk driver. I think he hit us at like 100 miles an hour.
Jesus Christ.
I was on the side that got hit.
Were you guys T-boned? Mm-hmm. Yeah, at 100 miles an hour.
He pushed us 150, 200 feet into a cornfield.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I was on the side that got hit. I was sitting Indian style for some reason.
Back seat?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I can't completely, I think it happened, but my friend Jenny that was sitting in front of me, I think we switched seats, but I'm not, like, I'm 95% sure that happened. But also my other friend, I'm not going to say her name because she doesn't want to be associated with it publicly. But she doesn't remember that because we both don't remember like a whole lot like right before.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it just goes away.
Right.
You know, the trauma and stuff just
Well, I
takes
think
it
your
away.
subconscious tries to protect you a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
So when this kind of ridiculous traumatic experience happens, your brain's just like, we'll just block that out for you.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Right. So we got pushed, and I remember waking up and just seeing corn, and for the longest time, I would like cry if I saw a cornfield, obviously for trauma. And now I have cornfield across the street, so
Yeah,
I've
so now you're surrounded
obviously
by it.
I've done some healing, right?
Yeah.
Now I live in the freaking country.
Yeah.
What a change. But yeah, so my two friends that were in the front passed away. My friend Ashley was killed on impact.
That's fucked up.
And my friend Jenny that was in front of me passed away. She, and this has been like public in the papers and stuff, so I'll say their name. But she passed away at the same hospital I was at. Then my friend next to me, we both must have like, you know, collided. I broke my neck. I punctured my lungs. They said if I wasn't sitting Indian style, I would have lost a leg.
Wow.
And we had to be like helicoptered because this was in like Sandwich, so we had to be helicoptered to hospitals. And like I do remember like looking at my hand, and it was all cut up, and I just had like glass just sticking, and I still have scars from it, just like glass sticking out of my hand. So I must have seen the car coming, like whatever. I think it was
Braced the last
like
second,
bracing,
yeah.
right? Saw the lights or
Instinctually,
whatever.
like, you're not even thinking at that point.
Right. But yeah, so I remember, it's crazy, and this is deep, but I think people should know it. Like when something, and I know people have experienced it, but like when you are literally at that point to where you're like, you've actually like mentally, clearly like, this is it.
Yeah.
Like this is it.
Right.
And then literally your life flashes before your eyes. And like I literally thought about everybody.
Did you feel that essence of like everything was slowing down?
Yes.
And it was starting to like, almost like it was playing in your head like a movie?
And the voices I could hear were a far echo,
Yeah.
even though they were right here,
Yeah.
like by my face. It was just a
It's
far
almost
echo.
like a movie where then they do that effect and you're like, oh,
Right.
that's why they do that effect.
It's
It is
crazy,
like that.
right? It's
Yeah.
crazy. And I remember them putting like a white sheet over me. And I distinctly remember being like, no, I'm alive. And they're like, we have to do this because they had to get the jaws of life and get, you know, everybody out.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so that happened, and you know, it obviously the word traveled. We were all on MySpace at the time, and a lot of people showed up for me. I really appreciated it. Obviously a traumatic experience. I hate the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Don't think I'll ever like it.
You know, what's funny that you say that is because I have a lot of trauma with the 4th of July.
Do
also.
you?
Yeah, Sarah and I were actually in a tornado on Table Rock Lake on the 4th of July on a pontoon boat.
No.
Yeah, and like, so she doesn't really like boats. And I don't, like, the 4th of July has always been some bullshit happen.
Right? Fuck the 4th of July.
The only good memories are when Leeser would have his parties.
Oh, well,
Other
I mean,
than that,
yeah.
thank goodness for Dan saving us a little bit. But otherwise,
Right.
4th of July is terrible.
See, fuck 4th of July.
I'm with you. I
Yep.
fuck 4th of July.
Take those hot dogs and fireworks and fuck off.
Yeah. And I don't want to downplay, like, that's a heavy fucking story. That's
Yeah.
definitely, obviously, incredibly traumatic.
But I'm okay, everybody. I'm okay.
Yeah.
There is a story of growth after that. I struggled for years when I was younger about trying to find the quality and the reason to be living and to enjoy every day.
I was going to say, do
At
you
that moment,
start
I
having that
realized it.
survivor's guilt?
Oh God, I still have it.
Really?
It doesn't go away.
Yeah.
It never goes away. But I learned from that every day that I wake up is a gift, because quite frankly, I shouldn't be here.
Right.
You know, and I saw pictures of the car like a year after, and I just like, I almost fainted.
So it's got to be like a breakdown.
I'm like, how the hell did I not, like, how the hell are any of us okay?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And so, like, I'm so grateful, and I still have days where I struggle, but I'm so grateful that, like, every morning that I wake up, I'm like, it's a new opportunity.
Right.
And I want to live the best I can and have the best time I can, because those two girls weren't able to do it.
Right.
So that's kind of how I try to live.
Yeah,
Like
it's
trying
like,
to flip. We can't help the things that happen
Sure.
to us and other people, but we have control over how we're going to use that to
Yeah.
turn it into a positive. Like there's Stephen Colbert. I don't know if you've ever listened to Anderson Cooper's podcast. It's an amazing, for anybody that's struggling with grief.
Yeah.
And everybody does at some point in their life.
I feel like I'm made of grief at this point. Like,
Right?
it's been a rough 6 years.
I know you've been through a lot. Yeah, I know you've been through a lot. But Stephen Colbert lost his, I think it was his mother, father, and brother in like a plane crash or something.
Yeah.
And he said something that resonates with me, is he said, I'm grateful, like it's so weird. I'm grateful for it. I'm not grateful that they're gone,
Right.
but I'm grateful. Like I'm grateful for them.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that I know that I understand like the value, and that that I became a better person from it.
Right.
Instead of like just letting it eat me up and spitting me out kind of thing. It's anybody that I know him saying that sounds really crazy, but if you listen,
to me it doesn't.
right, because you understand.
Well,
I mean,
and I think it's one of those things too that, like, as humans, in the way that we experience existence in general and relate to each other, is there's that selfishness of I need you, even if you're not close to me. It makes me happy that you're out there doing something,
Right.
Whatever that is,
Right.
And when that's gone, it's just the opportunity for you to keep doing well is gone, and I'm selfishly upset about that you're missing from my life, however small you were in it.
right,
So I think it's when you can kind of look at that and be like, how fucking lucky was I to
have
know
that
this
moment,
person, to have these moments,
Yeah.
to make it through those moments, and to be able to live for my friends even deeper, like, and to even reassure the relationships I have. Like, it's all a matter of perspective, right?
Right,
Like, you
right.
know, like you say when you wake up, like, what kind of day do you want to have? Like,
yeah. And I get pissy and I get
Right.
angry, and
yeah, and there's triggers for sure.
But
yeah.
it doesn't change the fact that I'm grateful. I mean, I literally was somehow given a second chance.
Yeah.
And I'm super, super grateful for it, you know? And it's just a really weird feeling to like have gone through that it felt like forever, but that moment of being like, oh my God, I can't say goodbye to anybody.
Yeah.
Like I literally was thinking that.
Yeah, it's a lot. I know, and your other friend doesn't want to be mentioned, which is great. But are you guys still close? Like,
She was in my wedding.
Does that create a bond?
And we were
Because realistically, you're the only two that get it.
right. Well,
So,
there
like, to
was
be
there was one other person in the car. I saw him a few years ago, but we kind of fell off after it because he was dealing with the drama too.
Right. Yeah.
But everybody dealt with it a different way, and it kind of pulled people apart. But we all still care about each other. But yeah, so my friend, my girlfriend, we are still super, super, super close. I would consider her probably one of my best friends. We don't talk all the time, but like we have that bond.
Yeah, it's like that family thing. Like we don't have to talk every day, but like we are attached.
Right. Yeah. I mean, she was in my wedding. Like, I can just pick up the phone, call her if I need to. Every 4th of July, we talk, and we used to spend them together all the time. But it's been, I think it'll be 16 or 17 years next year since it happened.
Wow.
But yeah, so almost like we both didn't have to go it alone. Either.
Which is nice. Yeah.
We both understand each other with it, so I think that helps too. Is like neither of us have to try to take the journey alone afterwards, because it was fucking hard afterwards. I mean, it was like, and we were on social media and shit too, so it was like, and I appreciate people reaching out.
It's a small town
but it was,
too, like everybody was talking
and
about it.
It became the thing, and I distinctly remember being at, I think it was a Short of All show at the End Zone.
Nice.
And I came out, and because I had to stay home for a while.
Probably one of the first times you came out. Yeah.
And I just remember like everybody kind of being like, should I say something? But everybody's like, I love you so much.
Yeah.
Like, we all care about you so much. We're so glad like you're okay, And I was like, okay, these are like, I knew all of you were friends, but I'm like, that felt really good that like, but they're like, not everybody like knows what happened,
Right.
And I'm
Well,
like, I'm like, it's like you said, the myth,
Right,
like nobody ever.
That happens just naturally. It builds itself.
Right.
Because
it's
of
like
little
shit.
pieces.
We know this happened, and like it wasn't just like a car accident. Like it was, loss and stuff like that.
And you don't want to be a dick, but you also don't want to spread misinformation.
Right. And then you just kind of like, does the person want to talk about it? But like, I keep saying it, but I'm an open book. I just,
Do you feel that way though always, or do you feel like you've become that? Was there a time that we were like, I really am not comfortable talking about this at this point?
Probably like a few months. After
it's a lot to process. Like,
I
can imagine.
I went through.
You were probably stuck at home healing for a while.
Playing music that I shouldn't play, making myself cry, but also it was cathartic, and I think it was a healthy thing to do.
It makes me, one of my favorite things, maybe we're fucked up worse than we think, is like listening.
I mean, we very well could be, but at least we were talking about it, right?
I love listening. Like, I love dramatic, over-the-top, like, really heart-wrenching films. I love, like, music that, like, just rips your heart out. I think I just like to intensely feel when I'm ready to feel.
Yes. Like, I'm gonna get this out, and this is gonna help me do it. Yeah. Like, I'm still able to feel. I'm still able to process. Like, I'm still able to cry if I need to. I can scream if I need to. Like, I still have those feelings. Like, you're not tucking it all away. I totally get that.
I think that's healthy.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, listening to like favorite songs and shit like that, and then my brother passed away last year, and I'm like, I put on Beyond the Gray Sky by 311, and I'm like, yeah, that's really gonna help. Like, that's really gonna make me feel better, but it fucking did. So it's like,
Yeah, there's a Frank Turner song too, like that I listened to for Shane, and I listened to for T as well a couple years before.
Yep.
And I'm like, it just rips your heart out, because Frank Turner writes on a whole different level.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you listen to Frank Turner, but he's incredible, and he's got this song about his friend, like, who was always at the shows and everything, and like, then he didn't hear from him, and he didn't answer the phone last time he called, and his friend was gone, and.
But it's like this person that you don't know is making this music that you can relate to.
Like, it's almost like it's about my exact situation.
Right.
Like, goddamn.
And then again, though, it's like, I'm not alone in this.
Yeah.
People do understand. People, unfortunately, know what it's like. But I know that it's not just me and my, when you get into that little area, that shadow, it's like you listen to the music and it's like somebody hears me.
Yeah.
Like, people hear me, I hear them, kind of thing. And I think that's like, I'm very into music, and I always like say, me and Jay Schwartfeger, like, when I got to know him, we really bonded over music and stuff, and just things like we've been through and things like that.
Yeah.
But I always say, like, music is a universal language.
That's true.
It's just,
as
it
long
goes
as you
across,
speak
it goes, hey man! like Rammstein. I don't know what the hell they're talking about, but I do like them.
It sounds way worse in English. Also.
Yeah.
It sounds awesome in German.
Yeah, I think I don't need subtitles for that either. I think I'll just stick to the music. But yeah, music is very cathartic, and I really got into that. I got back into like writing poetry because I used to write poetry, and I actually started doing that after Shane passed away.
Really? Mm-hmm. You should make a book. That'd be awesome.
That's what my therapist told me.
Yeah, it'd be really cool. Like just a collection of some things, especially
Yeah.
over that kind of a span, is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Just to kind of see that kind of change and growth, the similarities and things like that. Man, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, because I still have some poetry from like when I was in like high school.
Yeah.
One good thing out of high school is I had a English teacher, and she secretly took my poetry and had it published.
Oh.
And I was like, and she's like, I hope you're not mad at me.
Like,
and I'm like,
sounds like something I should have decided before.
yeah, but no, I'm like, no. And she goes, it's just absolutely beautiful. I had to do it. I'm sorry. And I was like, made me feel good, you know.
Yeah.
But
it's cool to be recognized in that way. I think I'd still probably be like, you had to do, I'm going to remember that.
see, I liked her.
That's good.
I didn't flip her off and walk away. Although she married that person.
Really?
Yeah.
That's stupid. That's funny.
What are the fucking odds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so that's a release for me too, is writing. I've always been pretty good with words. When I was younger, I always wanted to be like a lyricist.
Yeah.
Like sell my lyrics to people.
Yeah.
You know, I probably could still do that.
I mean,
you know.
you can still do anything.
Yeah. Be like, Adele, check this out.
Yeah.
You play the music and you can sing the words, because I can't sing like that.
But you sing though, right?
I do.
You like to sing?
Yeah, it's kind of like my secret thing.
Yeah.
It's always been like ever since I was little, like a secret kind of thing that I have.
Yeah.
A couple beers, I'll go do karaoke. But yeah, and I don't know why I've always kind of hidden it. Like I've not, I was gonna do like a band thing, and it just didn't work out. But I get so like scared. I think I get scared of rejection.
Yeah, it can be tough. When I messaged you actually about doing the show, I saw our old messages were about putting together a little music project.
Yeah.
I think that probably dates back to when Randy moved, and we were like, oh, maybe we'll just find a new singer. And I've always wanted a lady singer.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's probably what those messages were from.
Yeah, no, I've been told I'm a really good singer, but I just have like, it's just a fear thing, and maybe it's just something I keep for myself.
Yeah.
But like my friends are like, why? Dan especially. He's like, get out there. Like, God damn it.
Have you done any work with Dan? I mean, Dan's an amazing musician.
Yeah, we've done stuff. Yeah.
So you've recorded here at least.
Yeah. So, and then like, Faber's been wanting to do some acoustic stuff with me.
Yeah.
I've known Faber forever, and we've always kind of done music stuff. So he thinks I'm a songbird, I guess. I don't really know, but whatever. I mean, that's his problem.
You're like the songbird of our generation.
Yeah, shit, right. Yeah, give me a Grammy already. Yeah, no, so writing and singing I love, and I love music. Like, music just kind of carries me through a lot of stuff.
I think it's, in a lot of ways, I think it's our lifeblood. Like, it kind of keeps us moving. Just because it's all so relatable too. Like, even just the simplest chill vibe, just to relax.
Yes.
To like the most intense, like, emotional breakdown you want to have.
Yeah.
It's like, it's all there.
Like my country road with my cigarette and my Metallica literally blaring out of my car, like rocking that thing.
Yeah.
It's great. Driving by the cornfields, like, fuck you, I'm living my life.
God damn you, corn.
God damn you, corn, you fucking pieces of shit.
Did it feel, after that and kind of the recovery and stuff and like slowly coming back out, did it feel like your life stopped? And like you kind of had to kind of kickstart it and to get back into things slowly? What did that look like? Basically what I just said.
Yeah. I kind of like reevaluated things, I guess. Not like reevaluated like relationships, but maybe like reevaluating maybe like the choices I made.
Yeah.
And seriously evaluating, what are you going to do with this? what are you going to do with it? It's here. It's not going anywhere.
There's this thing that happens that's pretty common with soldiers, like when they step on a landmine or a grenade goes off, but it doesn't actually go off, but like they 100% were dead.
Right.
And just by some random act, they weren't.
Right.
And it's really, really struggling and hard to get back into a normal life once you've stared death in the face. Do you ever feel anything like that? Does that trigger mentally for you, or did I just ruin it?
No. No. Yeah, I still do feel like that sometimes. Like I have those moments where I'm just like either like I'm back there or like I'm like, whoa, I fucking I was there.
Yeah.
Like, and then you're like, kind of have to process it, and like every year I feel that.
Yeah.
Like every freaking 4th of July I wake up and I'm like, how?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
and then it swarms through your mind and all this shit.
But you're grateful to be waking up.
Right.
Because I always figured I'd be dead by 26.
I thought I'd be gone by now.
For whatever
to be
reason,
honest.
and not that I lived a hard life or anything. I didn't even start drinking until I was 26. I
Right.
just figured I feel like when I was younger, I was like, I'm the kind of guy who'll probably die early.
Isn't that weird?
It is weird. So I've always felt like I'm on borrowed time since, and now I'm just like I'm just happy to be part of every day, man.
But see, the thing is I think we are all on borrowed time, but it's what are you going to do with it?
Right. Yeah. And that's true.
What are you going to do with it?
Gonna do with it? Yeah.
What are people, I want my story to be like, hey, she had fun.
Right.
Like, I'm not a doctor. I didn't win like a Nobel Prize, but she
Right.
was a good fucking person.
Yeah.
She was funny. She was a great friend. She cared.
That's, I mean, not for nothing. That's kind of the crux of the show, is to be like, we're just normal people,
Right.
But we're having the best fucking lives
Right.
we can facilitate and are enjoying it.
And we all have our stories.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody has a story.
Yeah.
Which is so important.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm grateful for it. I'm still miss them immensely. I do have PTSD. Like it's just not gonna go away.
I think it
it
can be
taught
hard
me
for
how to
people that
live.
don't deal with grieving and dealing with loss like that. It doesn't go away.
No.
Like it's one thing like when your grandpa passes away and you guys are incredibly close, and yes, 64 is young, but you're like, but he's an older gentleman. Like eventually this is inevitable. But when you're looking at your peers and you just watch them go through what you just went through, and you're like, that's not right. That's not okay.
And like losing our friends and stuff. And God, I hate it, but you get older and it's just it comes with it, and it just fucking sucks because it's like this timeline thing, and it's like
suck.
you see it like with like my parents and stuff, like when she got older, and it's like, what is this timeline shit, But again, grateful for all the fucking memories.
Sure.
Like
it's just
so many of them.
It's overwhelming when you start seeing like, certain people are getting sick and they shouldn't be.
Right.
Certain like random car accidents are happening and we're losing people this way. And then it's a whole other thing when people are just deciding they're done.
Right.
And they're just checking themselves out.
Right.
And it's a whole different level of loss. It's a whole different level of hurt, and like it's even hard. It's harder to process, like because it sucks so much.
Right. But I think it's important to talk about because everybody experiences grief, and when they do, we all feel alone, even though we're not. Grief is a very lonely journey that you're stuck on forever, and it's not talked about enough.
Yeah.
The effects of it and all the stages of it, because stages of grief are real. But I think it's important to talk about, and like I do share a lot about my brother's story.
Yeah.
But also because I want it to serve a purpose.
Right.
Right? It happened. Nothing I can do about it, but I want it to serve a purpose. Like I think things they have to serve a purpose. And so that's what I try to do, with his story. And everybody that's listening to this, knew my brother.
Yeah. Well, not only that, we all loved your brother.
Well, I know.
Shane, What a handsome, adorable, stupid man.
with a southern draw at times, which his sister still does.
Yeah, as Illinoisan as can be, from Boulder Hill his whole
Yeah,
life.
I mean,
somehow he's got
we're-
that southern twang.
We're down south over there by the 6th Center.
Said the dumbest shit like, "Wait, you got a turd in your pocket?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but see, like, you have such positive memories, and he was, unfortunately, didn't see it for himself, but such a good person. And, as I said, we all have struggles, and he struggled, and unfortunately, that's what happened, but...
That's always what breaks my heart is, like we talked about too with your stuff, like we've stared into the abyss and we know what that feels like want to leave.
I think that makes it harder.
I agree. I think to be able to have that in you to be like, I don't want to do this anymore and I don't have to, because that's that control thing too. And that's
I have control of what I'm going to do.
I don't even have to deal with this shit anymore if I don't want to. And I'm a firm believer that nobody wants to kill themselves, but there's that moment, and it only takes 1 second of them being like, "Oh, man, but I could," and then once you make that 1 second decision, it's too late to undo it.
Yeah.
Like I've talked about it before. Like I've watched the documentary "The Bridge" about the San Francisco Bridge, and only 2 people have ever survived, and both of them. Like the second I stepped off, I wish I didn't do it.
It's very powerful.
It's
very
incredibly powerful. Yeah,
I've seen that. It's very.
But I'm a firm believer in that if you could get past that 1 second, you don't want to leave actually.
Right.
Things just fucking suck for a second.
Right.
That's why I'm always adamant about reach out, talk to somebody.
Think about it, you think about it, but it's like that lights out.
Yeah.
And I used to, my brother was open about his struggles, but unfortunately, a lot of people, I'm sure, men's mental health has never taken...
Still got a taboo about it.
Right.
Yeah.
The stigma, it's disgusting. And that's what my brother had in his mind. Like, if I go to the hospital... Yeah. They're going to literally going to put a straitjacket on me and put me in a padded room.
Right.
That was, So, he was open. We were super, super close. He was open with me about it, and he knew that I had gone through stuff, and, I came out the other side.
You're one of the best advocates to have, realistically.
And growing up together, he saw that,
yeah.
And kind of called me a kook sometimes, which, not far off. I'm a little, me and Shane, we're both from the same seed, I guess, but little crazy, but that's okay. But so, yeah, towards the end, and people that were, people that saw him a lot, they'd say the same thing. And I don't think it needs to be hidden, because it's important that people understand that he did struggle.
Yeah.
And I tried to help him. I didn't think that it would ever happen. You never do. But it did. And now it has to serve a purpose. Yeah. His life has to serve a purpose. The lights did go out, but for him, his life doesn't.
He's got a legacy now too, because there's a new light.
Little E.
That we were talking before we got on a lot of Shaneisms happening.
Oh shit. Well, I told Dan, I said, if you give him a dirt bike, we're fucked, dude. We're so screwed. Like a little mini bike. My brother actually used to have one down at our grandparents' farm, and oh my God, my grandma would be like, oh my God, Alan, why did you get him that? He would climb up to the top of the corn silo. Yeah. Oh my God, fearless. That's one thing a lot of people say about my brother is fearless.
I think it's more I can't believe he made it this long, not accidentally killing himself.
Right. Oh my God. Blowing up fireworks in the backyard. Me and my brother used to shovel up. Oh my God, this is terrible. We used to shovel up dog shit in the back and put it in piles in the back of the garage. Yeah. And then we would put fireworks in it. And then we'd blow it up all over the garage. That's amazing. My dad got so pissed, but that's the Bivens kids. That's just...
You guys are bad kids.
God bless my parents. But those are memories that, and we have the same friends in Oswego and things like that. And so, when he passed away, that kind of made it hard too, because I'm hurting so bad, but God, I know everybody is too.
Right. really tough. That's one of the things I was going to ask you.
I can't reach out, you know?
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
one of those things I was going to ask you too. Like even going back to the car crash too, and like when you finally decide to show yourself again and come out after you're healing and able to handle it, is like, or even at like funerals and stuff too, when you start having these things and they're in groups and everybody is destroyed.
Right.
And but I don't even like to admit this because it sounds so selfish, and I don't mean it selfish, but like in those situations, you're surrounded and there's so much around you, but you feel so alone because you can't. It's not about you, and everybody's thinking, I want it to be about you, but they're also destroyed emotionally.
Right.
Like it's like it's like just wandering around and everybody's just going through the motions, and you can't really help it.
You feel ignored.
Right, even though everybody's there.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
It's kind of like I felt like, and sometimes I still do, like I'm in, so cliche, but you're in like a pitch black room.
Yeah.
There's a lamp hanging above your head.
Right, yeah.
And you're,
nice
you're just standing there.
Yeah.
You're in this light.
You can hear.
Right.
You can hear all the chatter because it's a packed room.
But there's no hands reaching out. There's no.
Right.
Yeah. But you say selfish, but it's not.
Right, it feels selfish, but it is.
Grief, man.
Yeah.
The feeling of being selfish when you're actually just feeling.
Right.
That is such a hurdle.
Ooh, that's a good way to put that because
over.
that's something that we've been taught. Is
Correct.
that it's selfish. It's
Correct.
not actually
It's
selfish.
your pity party.
Yes.
No, I'm feeling.
Yeah.
I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's something I've recognized with grief too, is that I've learned is like, I'm not gonna feel bad for hurting because I am.
Yeah.
You know, I would never say what he did was selfish because he just was hurting so bad.
Yeah. I also, like, I don't like when people say that kind of thing either.
No.
Because, like, do you feel too, because, as I've already talked about a bunch, we kind of get that trigger?
Right.
I can understand.
Right.
Like, I don't think it's a selfish thing at all. I just think it's that 1 second too far.
Yep.
But I don't, as weird as it sounds, I feel like I understand suicide. Like, I get it.
Right.
It's a viable option.
I've been at that cliff.
Right.
I've absolutely more than once.
Yeah.
But it's always a strange feeling, like, and I felt like this after the accident, is like, nobody understands how I feel, but I don't want anyone to fucking understand.
And that's a huge point too, is like,
I don't want you to know what it feels like. But God, I feel alone, but fuck, I don't want you to feel it.
I'd rather be alone. Like,
Right.
I don't even want to explain it to you too much because I don't want you to explore this feeling.
Right.
Because it fucking sucks.
Yeah, and then I go back to like the lamp thing. I don't want a second person under that lamp with me.
Yeah.
I'd rather be in that lamp by myself.
Absolutely. I agree. It's such a...
crazy.
It's
crazy feeling. Like,
yeah,
it's like I'm alone, but damn, I don't want you to feel that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't want you to know what it's like. Yeah, and that, God, man, grief and loss and stuff. I just, again, like, not to get like super sad, but I just really think it's important to talk about because
Yeah.
also that triggers things with suicide. Like, I know the accident was really hard on my brother. He didn't really talk about it a lot, but I did, and it sometimes bothered him. And I said, but that's how I get things out,
Right.
is I talk.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to share it. But he struggled with it because he always blamed himself for it because we were going to go another way. And he decided to go that way, and then we ended up getting hit. He was driving in front of us, and the car just disappeared.
Wow, so he was in the car in front of you. You guys were heading...
So me and my brother experienced that together.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
Because he never talked about it.
Which-
But I think
which
it's
makes
important
sense,
to talk
yeah.
about, and I always told him that, but
Yeah.
he just saw the car go away.
Yeah, it's
he's
one of
like-
those
he's
things
like,
too,
where the hell are they?
Why would you hold on to? Like, I understand why you'd hold on to it, but like, there's no point in holding on to that.
Mm-hmm.
You could have taken the other way, and something worse could have happened. Like, you don't know.
And I would tell him that, like, we have no control of what life does.
Right.
But again, it's a control thing. And
Yeah.
that's just something my brother and I,
Yeah.
that's just something we always had.
Right.
We were a lot more alike than we both realized.
Yeah.
And now that, I've been reflecting on a lot since he passed away, and I'm like, God, me and my brother are so much alike.
You guys
Holy
bump
shit.
heads a lot ever?
Oh my God.
Yeah. Let's say, like, not for nothing.
Shit.
Sarah and I are very similar.
We're siblings,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Siblings.
The difference,
So-
I'm the older one and she's the younger one, but I feel
Yeah.
like we have a similar age gap. And where it's like, you grow up and you bump heads a lot, but you also have a built-in friend.
Right.
But then also, like, you start realizing, oh, we probably bump heads so much because we're so similar. we're the
Right.
same asshole.
But have you found that as you've gotten older, you guys have maybe, like, has some of that subsided?
Yeah, well, yeah. Now we can like hang out as friends. We have the same group of friends.
Right.
I find that we know how to push each other's buttons if we get bored.
Oh, God, yeah.
But it rarely comes up like at all. Usually, it's just simple existence.
Yeah, yeah. No, I totally feel you on that. But yeah, so he always blamed himself for it.
Yeah, that's a lot to carry around.
But the thing is I think people should know that he hid it. And
Yeah, like I said, I didn't even know. I didn't even know he was involved in it.
But to kind of, because there was moments when he would get really angry and stuff, and I know people saw that. But that's where shit came from.
Yeah.
It wasn't just me.
Well, everybody's carrying stuff.
Yeah.
And
He had a very heavy load that.
And no, honestly, it's not anybody's business.
Right.
The whole point of living non-judgmentally is that we're not throwing shit in people's faces because we don't know.
Right.
Like
Right.
there's no reason.
You don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know, so fucking be nice to everybody.
See, and I felt like that after Shane passed away last year, is like, if somebody looked at me wrong at the grocery store, I was like, bitch, I'm gonna take this cereal box and just knock you over the head with it.
Yeah.
Like giant size Kellogg's, like I'm coming for you.
Right.
But then again, I don't know what that person's going through.
Right.
But that again is like it's that lamp, and you're like, you don't know what I'm going through, and you kind of get lost. You can get lost in your own grief.
Right.
And I was calling it selfishness within my grief, because I definitely this past year my relationships have changed, and I acknowledge that. I've withdrawn myself a little bit, and I completely acknowledge that. But I think I also started to acknowledge what other people were going through.
Right.
And I was calling it selfishness, but it's not selfishness. It's a process of grief.
Yeah.
It's so, again, it's like a mixed bag. Like
It's
you
nice
start
when you
to
can
feel
recognize
bad.
those learned behaviors
Right.
and kind of put them in the back. Do you feel like you're coming back, quote unquote, now and kind of getting back to yourself?
Yeah.
Because like, not for nothing, and as stupid as this sounds, recently you posted a new picture of yourself,
Yeah.
and I was like, holy shit, Meg is fucking here.
Yeah.
Like, she looks bright. Like, it looks like the lights are on. She looks present. Like, she looks happy even. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
This is really cool. Like,
Yeah.
which is, could be fabricated in a picture, but that's what it feels like. And it's cool to kind of see that.
That's why I shared it.
Yeah.
I don't really share a lot of pictures of myself on Facebook anyways or anything. But I definitely, I have days where I literally have to like throw myself out of bed.
Absolutely.
But I am feeling like I'm Megan again,
Yeah.
and that picture really like reflected it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you saw it for that, because it wasn't my intention of like, oh my God, you're
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
Like,
No.
fuck, I already know that. But you have to fucking tell me that. I get it.
But yeah, it hit me really hard.
See, I'm so grateful for that. But
Because
see,
that's how I felt. I felt
right,
grateful that I got that from it.
Because you unfortunately understand, right? I mean,
Right.
you unfortunately understand where it's like my color's back, like I'm putting like foundation on, like I'm getting I don't look like a homely person on Skid Row, like things were rough, okay?
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
looking a little rough, not doing my hair or anything like that.
Yeah, but I think those wins are important because, like we've said all conversation, it ebbs and flows. And some days they're a fucking slog, and some days it's easier. So like, it's important to celebrate those highs as it is to kind of wallow through those lows.
Yeah, and I wanted to share it, like, everybody has the chance to feel better, because I mean, like, if I took a picture like 6 months ago,
Yeah.
you'd be like, shit's rough over there.
Like, I hope Meg makes it.
Yeah, right. Like the lamp's starting to dim over there in that room. Yeah. So, but no, I'm glad you saw it for what the intention was, because, and like I said, like the last year, everybody being friends with Shane, because he was freaking friends with everybody. I'm surprised he didn't like have friends in freaking Japan and shit because everybody fucking knew that kid. Social butterfly, which is what I put in his obit.
He was.
For sure. But I kind of want people to know that I'm okay, even though my mind tells me that no one gives a shit. Maybe they don't. I don't know. But that you're gonna be okay too.
Yeah.
Like we're all gonna be okay.
Yeah.
You know, we've lost a lot of people, and I never, ever thought that I'd be on this side of it. It's a completely different experience. It's still loss.
Yeah.
But I mean, like losing a sibling, like you're called like the forgotten mourner.
Yeah.
Because when it happened, my brother was in the hospital for a week, and everybody knows this. I'm not sharing anything. But I called him like the morning I got back from the hospital from seeing him, and I told him, and he's like, I shouldn't say this to you right now, but I want you to know, because I was like, my brother's not going to make it, and people were like, he's going to pull through as your sibling. I went into that hospital room at like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
and I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
You just know. You know, I know that's sad, but you just know.
Right, yeah.
But so there's this thing, and for anybody that's like lost a sibling, it's called like the forgotten mourner, and it's fucking real.
Yeah.
Like it's real. Like I lost sibling loss. I don't think is recognized for how deep it is.
Right.
You know,
especially because like there's different sibling relations, but when you're that close in age and you come up together and you have the same group of friends, like it's literally like an extension of you.
like half your identity. I felt like half my identity was pulled, and I'm getting that identity back.
Yeah.
Like that picture is also a reflection of that.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I mean, when you lose anybody, like something it's pulled. But so
Yeah.
I struggled with that a lot, but now I feel like I'm seeing a little bit more. But when it all happened, like I literally just felt like pushed over to the corner kind of thing, you know? Yeah. And I think it's important that people know too, if they feel that way, that it's not an uncommon thing.
Right. And
Like-
it's actually not selfish.
There it is again, right?
That's
I mean,
the biggest shift here,
that
yeah.
fucking word just,
Yeah.
God, it just pops up, and
Well,
it's
I'm so glad
embedded.
you pointed out that it is that's a learned reaction
Yep.
to just feeling.
Yep.
That's so critical to kind of take with you. Like that's huge because it's so spot on.
No, fuck that word.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely selfishness.
Sure. Yeah.
I
Well,
I try not to be.
Yeah, it'd be different if you were parading around like, "Woe is me, my brother."
Right,
Look at
right.
me.
Like threw like his party, like threw myself on the floor. Oh my God!
Yeah.
Because he'd be like, "Sis, shut the fuck up. Get
Yeah,
up."
for sure. Like, come on.
Like, stop it. Yeah, he'd probably tell me to fuck off.
Yeah. He was good at that.
I have a coffee mug that says "fuck off" that my friends gave me, so that must tell you something. Again, me and Shane were a lot alike.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just, I don't know. You know, I miss him, and I know a lot of people do, and I just want people to know that I am okay. But I'm back. I'm feeling more like myself. My smart ass has come back a lot more.
Nice.
Which Dan's really grateful for.
I'll bet. I feel like he's probably a lot of times like, "Do you think you'll stop being a bitch again?" Or?
Yeah, right. But I've been with him for almost 15 years, and he has never called me a bitch. That's the kind of person he is. And let me tell you,
he's a really good dude.
I fucking deserved it many times.
Yeah, but I would love to. We kind of have been talking about things out of order.
Yeah, sorry, kind of back and forth.
I think it was kind of nice to kind of clump all the trauma in one.
Yeah.
Now
Right.
we can backtrack.
Now we can backtrack. Yeah, so I'm married.
Yeah. So it was always almost shocking to me because I've known Dan since 6th grade.
Yeah.
And I know you in a whole different way later. How in the hell? Because I remember when I was like, wait, Dan Stickney and Meg
Like,
Bivens
what-
are dating?
like, how
I
did
don't
this
even understand. How did you guys even meet?
Okay, so it's kind of an interesting story. So Dan was hanging out with a friend of mine when you guys were seniors and I was a freshman. I went to a party at her house, and this is so cliche, but it's true. This is so stupid. But I saw him with his long hair on the other side of the kitchen, and I was just like, I don't know. I was just so taken with,
Enamored.
I was just, yeah, I'm like, God, that guy, like.
He's a handsome man.
He is, and beautiful hair, by
Does
God.
have
Beautiful hair.
Looks very conditioned.
Yeah, he takes good care of it, let me tell you. He doesn't fuck around, because he's never going to cut it off,
Yeah.
which is fine. But so I saw him there, and I was just so stupid. And I remember seeing my yearbook, and I put a little heart next to his name.
Oh my God. That's fantastic. This was your freshman year? Uh-huh. Wow, so this is even longer than I realized.
Right,
That's
right.
so funny.
So, skip ahead 10 years.
Jeez, you sat on that for 10 years.
I just kept it on my mind.
Yeah, wow.
Went through the boyfriends, got all that out of the way, you know.
Yeah.
And then I found him on Facebook randomly on my friend Sam's Facebook. Still had his long hair, and I'm like, oh my God, that's that guy from that fucking party. I haven't seen him in like 10 years.
Yeah.
Saw him once, right?
Right.
I fucking added him like a psychopath. And
I can't believe this story.
And he sends me a message. He goes, I remember you. He remembered me from that party.
Wow.
And I don't even think we talked to each other.
Yeah. Well, you were probably staring at him uncomfortably.
Yeah, well,
He's like, who's this weird lady?
No, well, he told me, he goes, you know, his buddy that was there told me, he goes, Dan did say something about you back then at that party.
Wow.
And I go, really? And Dan's like, I'm pretty sure you were had your long blonde hair, and I think you were wearing like a striped polo shirt. And I'm like,
yeah, but you got
that's all I fucking wore back then. I'm like, what?
You got a big personality though too. I feel like you're noticeable.
Is that a good thing?
I'm sure it fluctuates. But I mean,
It's probably true.
At least in this situation, it was a good thing.
Yeah. And I don't even think we talked to each other.
Yeah.
I think he got me high.
That sounds right.
Right. My chill man.
Yeah.
But so I did that, and he's like, I remember you, or you look familiar or something. And I said, yeah, I met you at my friend's party, and he goes, yeah, he's like, right. He's like, he goes, I remember you or whatever. And I'm like, okay, we didn't even I think I smoked a joint with you, and then I don't even think we said anything.
Yeah.
So we randomly started talking to each other on Facebook for hours, into the middle of the night.
Wow.
For 2 weeks. And
have we been on Facebook that long?
I've been on it since I was in quote unquote
Cool,
college.
Yeah, when it was originally just for college kids.
Right. Before he made his millions and billions of dollars.
Yeah, that's crazy. Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
So then, being who I am, pretty blunt, as you know, I said, are you going to take me out on a date, or are you just going to keep talking to me on the internet?
That's awesome.
Yeah, and he's like, well, where do you want to go? And I said, you want to go bowling, do something competitive? And he's like, okay, cool. So we met each other at Parkside Lanes. I was so nervous because I actually hadn't seen him in person since that party.
So you don't know what you're getting.
Right.
Yeah.
So I remember calling my friend Bettina. You know Bettina.
I do know Bettina.
And I was like, I'm going to get sick, because I'd been texting him all the time. That shit I never would do.
Yeah.
Get away. I want my own space. Just be there when I want you to be there. I threw up.
Really?
Before, I was
just anxiety.
Oh my God. I was like, oh my God, what if he doesn't like me? What if I'm boring or whatever? So
that's the flip side too, is you haven't seen him in 10 years.
He hasn't seen, and
you.
I didn't think about that, and
thank goodness.
And he has brought that up.
Yeah.
He's like, I was so.
I bet he was just as nervous.
So nervous to hang out with you, because we've had this great online communication, and what if we don't like each other? That'd be a terrible feeling.
But there's no magnetism.
Right. So it was essentially kind of a blind date.
Yeah.
It was a little awkward at first, of course. Had a couple beers. We both realized we're very competitive, which I think is actually healthy in a relationship.
Can be.
Yeah. And I honestly think a first date, skip the movies, skip the dinner bullshit. Go do something where that's what you're doing.
Well, also where you're gonna see what they're really like. What happens when you're losing or winning a game? Are you an asshole?
Yeah.
Because you can definitely be competitive and still rooting for your teammate.
Well, and I was thinking too. I'm like, he seems so nice, online via text, just a really genuine guy. And obviously, I didn't know him at all, really. But I'm like, man, I hope this fucker's not a jerk. You know what I mean? God, I'd be so disappointed.
Yeah.
Another one, trash. But yeah, so we went to Parkside. That was fun or whatever. And I was like, I don't think he likes me. And he goes, do you want to go to IHOP and get some hash browns? And it's like midnight. And I'm like, okay. And we just ended up like, I think we were at IHOP for like 2.5 hours just talking.
Yeah.
And we've been together ever since.
I love that specifically it was like, do you want to go to IHOP to get hash browns? Not like, do you want to get some breakfast or like IHOP in general.
Hash browns.
We're going for hash browns.
Yeah.
If you don't get hash browns.
Yeah, no fucking eggs for you. No pancakes.
No.
I want you to eat a plate of potatoes. And you better put ketchup on that like a real American.
Yeah,
please. Yeah. So,
yeah,
that's how we met. And I took him to so we were just still talking, like not official or anything.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm going to impress him. And I bought Behemoth tickets, which is like a black metal band from Poland, which I love now, by the way.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah, they are. They're awesome. But I bought, Maggie convinced me to do it. She's like, he's going to think you're such a badass. And I'm like, okay. She's like, buy the tickets. I said, okay, I'll do it. So I bought them. And again, me on the way home on the train, I just like looked at him and I was like, am I going to be your girlfriend or what?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And he's like, well, yeah, if you want to. I'm like, okay.
I wish that he was like, bitch, I have a plan.
Yeah.
Will you stop stepping all over my dick?
I know, I'm surprised I didn't fucking propose to him. I have a question for you. No, I have the question. I'm in control of this.
I can't wait to get Dan on the show to hear the flip side of all this bullshit.
He'll be like, I gotta be careful what I say.
Yeah. He'll be like, she did everything, 100% control there.
Yeah, well, he will say, yeah, she controls everything, but it's fine. I'm along for the ride. Well, I think that's the thing, too, is like, we're so different.
Yeah.
Like, we are literally, like, it's so yin and yang. Like, and I always joke because, like, Maggie, I think, like, you can have soulmates that aren't, like, romantic
for sure.
lovers.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I would consider Dan a soulmate, too, but, like, Maggie is, like, I think, like, that like, we met for, like, a purpose. Like, my relationship with her is so dynamic and so long-lasting, and there have been times when that girl should have judged the shit out of me, and she never did.
Yeah.
She never did. She just held my head high when I didn't eat it. But, so, she's so laid back. She rarely gets angry, which I love, because I'm always have a little bit of a temper. So she kind of, oh, what are you talking about? Don't talk to me like you know me. How rude. But I'm like, I always said, like, if I was gay and Maggie was gay, I think we'd like end up getting together, like be married, because we're so like good together. But my husband, Dan, is literally the male version of Maggie.
That's pretty nice, yeah.
Like, and I told her that, and then she like got to know, and she's like, dude, he's just like me. I'm like, that's why I get along with him so well. And Dan will tell you that too, but Dan also is with me, and we're so different. Like, you know, I say what I want to say when I want to say it. Mm-hmm. Try not to be disrespectful about it.
Yeah.
But like, I have learned to calm down from him. Like, Maggie said that at my wedding. She goes, I'm thankful that you met her because she's learned to calm down ever since she met you. I was like, wow, well, fuck you. Thank you very much. I love you too.
But there's something to that as far as because of where you've been in relationship-wise and just in life, you're constantly at an 11.
Right.
So, but he doesn't come at you like you're presuming everybody will. Mm-hmm. So it's easy to drop that down.
Yep.
So that you're at a 6 now. Like, that's a big difference.
It is. And he's learned to kind of tell how he feels.
Yeah.
And doesn't let people step on him and shit.
Yeah.
You know, not that he's a pushover or anything.
Sure.
He's
very,
very laid back. Yes.
Yeah.
Which is also something as we've gotten older and the word is now used everywhere, but set your fucking boundaries.
Yeah. It's used everywhere for a reason.
Right.
It's important.
Well, our generation's finally like, I got some shit to say. And leave me the fuck alone. I don't want to talk to you. Yeah. You're bothering me.
I like in some ways we overcorrect. We're like, my boundaries are more important than your boundaries.
Well, right. I mean,
we'll
we're
get
all
there.
right. You know, it's all, we are just a process here.
Yeah, it's still new. We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll find the balance.
Yeah. So that's our story. and then yeah.
That's what I always like too, because it seems so. The dynamic there is just so different. But every relationship is different, and everybody's looking for something different. But it's like you said, yin and yang. It's one of those complementary relationships.
Right. Right.
Like some people want to date somebody like them. Some people, I would.
I've been down that road before. It didn't work.
I would not want to. I don't need another dickhead like myself.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
I don't need
God.
to argue with myself. Get the hell out of here.
I want somebody that's like, maybe you're not as bad as you think. And be like, oh, you're lying, but thanks.
That's how it. But see, that's how it was with him. I'm
Yeah.
like, I wasn't like, unfortunately, wasn't driving at the time or anything, and like he would come out and get me. I'm like, this guy doesn't think I'm a piece of shit.
Right.
And I was an open book with him, and I told him that, like, I'm like, I just want you to know, because I thought it was something that was going to ruin everything, because it has before. Like, I have bipolar disorder. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, all right, well, that went over a lot more easy than I thought it would be. I'm like, okay.
Well, I mean, knowing about it is huge. And, like, you learn, there's tools and things like that. Like, you've gone through plenty of therapy, and you're in a place where you understand your triggers, and you can probably feel stuff coming different than normal, like than 20 years ago.
Right.
So
right.
I mean, it's not a death sentence by any means.
No, but you just you're like, oh God, because people will be like, oh, the weather's bipolar. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah, well, it's one of
it's climate change. That's what it is.
Yeah, you talk about boundaries is a new word. Bipolar is doing a lot of heavy lifting these days.
Yeah.
As a diagnosis, and when you actually come across somebody that's actually bipolar versus because I do think it gets overdiagnosed.
Absolutely, 100%.
Because I think that it's okay if something happens and your mood changes. That doesn't necessarily mean you're bipolar.
Right.
It just means that something happened and you feel different.
The roller coaster is different than a little hump.
Yes, right, exactly.
Yeah. So that is very true. Well, it's like that with like anxiety.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I was having like some heart issues, and the first thing they said was, "It's probably anxiety." Like I was like, "Listen, doc, I've been on the road for a long time."
Yeah, it's not my first rodeo.
Yeah,
son.
This ain't anxiety.
Yeah.
You give me a Xanax, and we're still gonna have the same damn problem.
Yeah. It's tough when not that you know more than your doctor, but you know more about your personal experience than they do.
Right.
And when they don't listen, or they want to put you through stuff that's a waste, then by the time they're on your page, it's too late.
Right.
Like, what a kick in the balls.
Yeah. Or like I was at the hospital, and my heart rate just jumped up to like 164.
Jesus.
Just laying there. This bitch, she goes, "You sure you haven't done any cocaine?" I'm like, "I'm pretty goddamn sure." I'm like looking at Dan, and I'm like, "Well, throw me a line, I guess." I'm like, "I don't know what else to do." She's like, "Well, we'll make sure we'll test you." I go, "Oh, well, all right."
Yeah. Were you on an IV?
What's that?
Were you on an IV?
Oh yeah.
Because I would have been like, well, what did you put in this bag?
Right. Now that you've stuck me like in my wrists and my neck and everywhere.
Like, maybe
thank
you gave me cocaine.
Yeah, exactly.
I was fine.
Yeah. What are you trying to do, bitch? Yeah, I was okay. But yeah. So that is true. Like, it's good that this stuff has come out.
Yeah.
But now, as it normally does,
that's how American
it's
society is. We overcorrect.
Right.
It's too much too fast because we're trying to play catch up in a sense.
Right.
In 20 years, it'll balance itself out, and then we'll be on to the next thing.
Well, and social media is a huge catalyst for that.
That's
social media has become a catalyst.
It is. It's definitely still a double-edged sword of good and bad.
But I think
like the internet in general.
I think the sword's gotten sharper on the.
I think there's been a nice push of misinformation.
You don't
purposefully.
say.
Well, it used to be just there's two sides to everything.
All right.
Now it's, I know this is wrong, but I'm going to push it as an agenda anyways.
Correct.
And that's not the same.
Yeah, and people, like, the arguing, I'm like, man, like, it makes me kind of sad. I'm like, I mean, sometimes I get, like, if people are being, like, super ignorant or racist or something, I'm like, yeah, I can't stay quiet.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to become a keyboard warrior, but I'm not an idiot.
Right.
But, you know.
You got to pick your battles for sure.
Right. But it's just like, man, I'm like, people aren't really like this.
No.
I'm like, this isn't, like.
But to be fair, they aren't.
Right.
It's because there's this mixing pot where
Right.
they can facelessly be absolute garbage human beings.
Right.
But when, I'm always amazed, and I hate that it takes a tragedy, but when shit gets real, everybody bundles together immediately.
9/11.
Exactly.
Like, have we all forgotten about this?
Yeah, it's almost like that's why they let those things happen.
Isn't it?
That's a whole other ball of wax.
Dun, 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 dun. Welcome to the wormhole.
This show just took a turn.
We're all over the place. All right, let's talk conspiracies.
Dude, not for nothing, Sam got me on that bullshit.
Oh, yeah?
She's like, oh, let's talk conspiracy theories. And I'm like, fuck, because I love conspiracy theories. And then I'm like, we're going to lose our whole audience. Here it goes.
Yeah. I mean, I've gone through enough black tunnels. I try to stay out of that.
Yeah, some of them are
It
fun.
keeps my
though,
mind
like,
I need my clarity.
yeah. Birds aren't real, it's still the best thing out there. That's
Oh
the
my
best
God.
thing.
Well, the Earth is flat. Did you know that?
It makes sense when they tell me about it. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I can look at the horizon. It definitely
Yeah.
doesn't curve.
But like, so what if you want to fly across the world? Do you just end up in fucking space? Like,
I mean, that's dangerous thinking.
book a flight. Let me know how it
Yeah.
goes.
I also like the idea that if an asteroid or something hit the right spot of a flat Earth, that the other side of the planet just gets knocked off the planet.
Yeah.
It just does.
And you just, yeah.
It just does a spin.
It just starts in California and it like ends up like a little island within space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a
listen
good way
up,
to go.
everybody.
Yeah.
We're on it.
If we had to get destroyed all at once, that's how I want it to go. Like flipping like a quarter.
I'm gonna have the time of my life. Buckle up. Oh my God, that'd be hilarious.
That would be hilarious.
Like you have like a roller coaster kind of like harness in a bunker.
Yeah.
You're watching the news, but like, all right, it's gonna happen. Here we go.
Yeah, that's the way I want to go.
Oh my God.
I've decided for the world. That's how we're all going to go.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It's finally proven.
Yeah. At what point were you like, oh, this is a real thing now with Dan, and like, yeah, we're boyfriend and girlfriend, but there's more to this because you said you moved in at some point.
So yeah, I moved in just shy of a year later.
So not too fast.
No, and quite frankly, I know my friends were like, "You're moving in with him."
Yeah.
Not like it's a bad thing, but they're
Sure,
like,
but-
"Miss like independent, like hasn't dated anybody like longer
Yeah.
than a year. Love my own space."
Did you always have shorter relationships?
Yep.
Coming up through that?
Yep. Yeah, I think I only had probably like 3 more serious
Yeah.
relationships.
But did you feel that they just kind of served their purpose, or did it hit a level of intimacy or closeness where you're like, no, that's good.
Around too much.
There's two available.
Too available. Hey, what are you doing? Nothing. Go away. I'm having me time. Isn't that fucked up?
Girls are impossible, bro. Like, 'cause
Why aren't you calling me?
Yeah.
Fuck off.
yeah. It's a gamble. You don't know which one you're gonna get, and sometimes they change on the day.
No, I don't like a lingerer like they say in Pineapple Express.
Yeah. Well, there's something to be said about maintaining independence and genuinely wanting to be close to somebody
Right.
at the same time, and kind of being able to live in that space of like, hey, I miss you. I've got my own shit going on.
Right. Well, I think that's really important in marriages, relationships,
Yeah.
forever, is don't lose yourself.
Right.
I was Megan before I met you.
Yeah.
And we are still two independent individuals, but
Right.
we have our partnership,
Yeah.
I think is like, and we've never lost sight of that.
Yeah.
Which I think is part of the reason why it's worked out so well. But with Dan, I think I was like, God, I really like this guy, and I actually want to spend more time with him than I can, which is fucked up.
Yeah.
Probably like we started dating at the end of January, so probably in like March I started feeling like that.
You said it's been 15 years now, so this is like 09, somewhere in there, right?
So yeah, like I'm like, man, why am I feeling like this? Like,
Why do I?
I mean, I'm serious.
Is this love? What's
I know.
happening?
I was like, oh my God, I think I really like it. Ah, shit. I'm like, because I would spend the weekends, because he lived in St. Charles. He had a house in St. Charles, so I'd spend the weekends in St. Charles, and I had a second job, so he would drive me to my job at the mall and then pick me up. And then Wednesdays, when I would get home from work, he would drive up from St. Charles and pick me up, and then he would drive me home at 10 o'clock on Wednesdays, so I got home. So we saw each other. We had a schedule. So we saw each other on Wednesdays, and
Yeah.
we saw each other on the weekends, which I think helped me
Yeah.
But then I'm like, God bless it, man. I really miss this guy. Like, what the hell, you know? And then my friends are like, SOS, what are you doing on the weekend? Well, you know where I'm going to be. I'm entangled in love now. Screw it, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I moved in, and then we lived together for 4 years, and then he proposed to me. Maggie knew about it after I called her and cried because he had told me, like, off the bat, like, I don't ever want to get married.
Yeah.
He was honest with me.
Right.
And I was like, okay. And then I, like, reached that 4-year mark, and I'm like, oh, God, I want to get married. I'm like, what the fuck?
Did that kind of creep up on you? Like,
Yeah.
You didn't really know you had that in you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I always said, like, I was like,
What's the point?
you know, yeah. Like, I was
Yeah.
like, and so when, like, it's so funny within our friend group because, like, out of our close-knit friends, I was the first one to get married. And, like,
Yeah.
literally, they thought I was going to be, like, the last
Yeah.
one. And
Yeah.
I'm, like, over here, like, domesticated. I'm in my house. I've got my fiance, all this and that. But, I mean, I understand marriage now. I mean, it does change things.
Well, you understand your marriage.
I understand my marriage.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could look at somebody else and be like, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Be like, is that what it's like? That's not really. That's not
Yeah.
really what I'm going through.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really, really grateful that I met him, and I actually met him just a little over a year after the accident, which is really weird too. I was like,
Yeah, that
kind
is
of
weird, yeah.
came into my life when I needed him.
Yeah.
You know, so it was kind of like. I know that's so fucking cliche, and it. But
There's a reason cliches exist because they're extremely common.
Right.
they're
I'm
cliches.
like this freaking like dream weaver that I met like 10 years beforehand, like comes
Yeah.
in back into my life, and it's crazy.
Oh, because that 10 years that's 10 years before the accident at 11, and then you met him like for real a year after the accident.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild.
Isn't it?
I find it's very serendipitous. Like I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome.
I love our story. I think it's
Yeah.
so funny. Like, it's just like seeing him in that kitchen.
Yeah.
Oh, there's my future husband. You know what I mean?
I mean, according
Put
to
a
your
heart next to his
yearbook,
picture.
yeah, it
Oh
really
yeah, when he had long. Well, in the yearbook picture, he has long hair to his shoulders,
Yeah.
and he has a Playboy shirt on, and I remember that
was. Yeah.
because he's like, you don't know what my picture looked like, because I was like, I'm gonna show you my yearbook, and I showed him, and he was like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
And then I showed him my picture. He's like, wow, look at that little proper pom-pom. Look at her. I'm like, yeah. Well, then the year after,
Right.
I had a weed necklace on. So, I mean, things changed a
Yeah.
little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, look at him freshman year. Not for nothing.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I remember what he looked like back in the day.
Braids.
Yeah.
Did you guys do the wrestling and stuff together, too?
No, I know they were doing it because we all loved wrestling.
Yeah, yeah.
But when Jay and Schmed started doing backyard wrestling stuff, and, at that point I was kind of hanging out over there.
Okay.
I never really did any of it because I'm like, these guys are silly. I'm glad
The
they
light
did.
bulbs and shit?
Dude,
Oh,
like,
my
yeah,
God.
those guys got pretty crazy.
Yeah.
With the stuff I'm glad they made it out somewhat unscathed.
Yeah, there's a video of Dan being hit with a freaking...
Fluorescent, right?
yeah.
Yeah. This is like, and then it,
With his braids.
because it powders also.
Yeah.
And the powder is bad for you.
That's what's wrong. No, I'm just kidding.
Now we've got it. That's what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah, you guys were...
Yeah, it was wild. And I was lucky enough to jam with those guys too for a bit. I was actually clearing out my email the other day, and I still have tracks from them. It's like dated like 2012, 2009.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, Jesus Christ.
So long ago.
Yeah, it was a long time. I used to hang out that way. My high school girlfriend lived in that neighborhood. So I knew Dan and the Zabos and Brad and like everybody that was over there.
Yeah.
Because I was always over there.
Okay,
And
okay.
we're all in the same class.
Okay.
So
So, yeah.
that was cool. How did he propose to you?
Oh, that's cute, too. I always, honest to God, I always thought that we'd be sitting on the couch.
Yeah, just like
And he'd be like, hey.
arbitrarily get this over
Because
with.
you know Dan, he's so laid back, I love him.
Yeah.
He'd be like, hey. I'd be like, all right, cool.
Actually, what we think we all at this point would think is that at some point you were like, am I going to be your wife or what?
Yeah, right. like holding up a sign like, hello.
Yeah.
Like,
How long are we gonna keep doing this?
and if you don't marry me, shit's about to go down. You know? You have no out. You have no out, Dan. No, so we went to Portland because I've always wanted to go to Portland.
Yeah.
And Greg Zabo lives in Washington, so he actually did he come down and see us that time? I don't think so. It was the year after. Anyways, talking to myself. So we went to Cannon Beach, where the Goonie Rock is.
Yes.
And he's like, hey, hold on a second. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, it worked out for him perfectly. I'm like looking at the rock, and I turn around, and he's on his knee, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Well, I was like, and he was like, will you marry? I was like, yes. 100%. Yeah. Chime the angels. We're in. But then it was funny because in classic fashion, like this like loose dog started like running towards us. Like Dan's like, there's a dog. And I'm like, oh shit. Classic fashion. But yeah, he really surprised me with that. But yeah, Maggie knew the whole time, and she helped him pick out the ring. Nice.
I think that's important too, is to, like, because you can be hit or miss with a ring. So to have somebody on the inside is definitely helpful.
Yeah, he's like, Maggie, help.
Because I would be like, obviously you want everybody to have what they enjoy, but it's still crushing to be like, oh, you were so wrong about this ring.
Right. Can we go back?
Yeah.
I know that's kind of awkward, but I mean, at that time, I would take a fucking twisty tie. I mean, I was just like, I was ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then I was like, I'm not really going to leave. I mean, first of all, God bless him, because I don't know how the hell he puts up with me. I can be a heavy load to carry sometimes, but but yeah, so he did that, and of course, you know, Little Miss Poker Face, Maggie, she knew for so long, and
she's a little devil.
that devil woman. There's that southern draw from Boulder Hill again. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sling blade. But yeah, that goes to show how good of a person she is. But yeah, so he proposed, and my psycho ass put a date together like for the year after. Yeah. So I was like, let's do this, you know. And then we said, like, it started out like, you know, we don't want a really big wedding, like whatever. Sure. And then my parents were like, let's have like a smaller wedding. And then my dad's like, you know, my mom was gonna get like a cash bar or whatever, and he's like, it's Peanut's wedding. That's what he calls me. He's like, it's Peanut's wedding. She's getting married, and I think they were both like, thank God. But like, it's actually happening.
Yeah. Your problem now.
Yeah, and we ended up having a huge wedding.
Really?
Like over 200 people.
Wow, that is a big wedding.
Yeah, and I don't really remember a lot of it because it was just so much. I'm pretty damn sure the only time I was with Dan was when we were at our less than 5-minute ceremony.
And photos.
Photos, eating, dancing, and cake. Other than that, I don't.
That sounds pretty normal, realistically. There's so much happening. Like, it's
I know.
so
well, I'm like, we have to split up, like, so you can talk to people, like, so we can get the room.
So you can get through everything.
Right. Yeah, but it was so funny. Adam Birkland is the one who married us because we didn't want, like, anything.
You did Sarah and Mike as well.
Yeah, right, and we didn't want religion.
Yeah.
Like, we did, like, we did, like, really quick vows. Like, I mean, we were, like.
Spaceballs. Do you?
Yeah. Pretty, I mean, it's
good,
pretty
you married
much.
Kisser.
Then the photographer, our friend Stephanie, was like, I wish I'd kind of known that it was going to be so quick. I think it was maybe less than 5 minutes.
Really? Wow, the whole thing? Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Like.
I think there's something to that. Like, not for nothing. Like, I love Joe and Kelly, and they have one of the best weddings I've ever been at. It's beautiful. At the reception, they had a classic Catholic wedding.
Oh, did they?
That went on for like 2 hours about
those Catholic
about
ones
Jesus and such. And I'm like, man. I'm like, I know you guys. Somebody
you didn't set
talked
on
you
fire
into
when
this.
you got in there? Just kidding.
My skin did burn the whole time.
I had some blisters when I left.
But the reception made up for it because it was one of the Kelly's dad gave one of the most beautiful speeches I've ever heard.
Oh,
in my
really?
life. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it was really good.
My dad didn't. I was like, you don't have to. I was like, it's fine. I was like, I have the worst picture of me crying, walking up the aisle.
Really?
Oh my God! And then there's one of my dad crying, and so I was like, we have enough of that. But yeah, but it was a super fun wedding.
Yeah.
People still talk about it. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but so like the photographer's a friend of ours. Sam's parents used to have like a event company on the side. So her dad did our music.
Nice.
And Sam pretty much like put everything together because she's one of my best friends.
Sam's awesome.
Yeah. And then her mom was the photo booth. And she knows me, so that was that. Yeah. And then the bartender ended up being Adam Berkland's aunt, who is really good friends with my parents.
Yep.
And then the wedding coordinator that was with us during the day is like actually like a childhood friend of my aunt's.
Jesus Christ.
So here we go, back to freaking knowing everybody, right?
Not for nothing though, with having a big wedding like that, did the budget stay relatively, did it not balloon then because everybody you knew was involved? Or did you end up spending $10,000?
No, I got some discounts. But it was expensive. But you know what?
Yeah.
Like people are like, I regret spending so much money, and I'm like, I don't, because it was like, well, we're still married, so that's plus.
That's so far.
My mom. Thank you. We appreciate your support. Fuck off. No, I'm just kidding. No, my mom did say, like, she's like, you guys have to stay married, or I'm sending you a goddamn invoice. I'm like, okay. No, but it was, again, it's one of those memorable experiences. And I was given the chance to do it, and I looked at it like that.
I love the pageantry of a wedding. Like weddings, I love going to them. I love having a date for them.
Yes.
And I just think they're so fun.
It's so
cool.
fucking happy.
It is. It's very up, and I enjoy that. And you can see there's these little moments that like you don't notice if you're not looking for them. Like you just said how hectic it is, and you don't remember it. But like you can, if you pay attention, you'll see like you glance across the room and see them. Like little dumb shit like that.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for that, like, and I kind of drawn to that stuff because that's life.
Yeah.
You know, is what you're not noticing and what you're not paying attention to, and that's the beauty of it. So that's what I'm always looking for is like this dumb shit that everybody else is overlooking.
But that's the important stuff.
Yeah.
That's why you're there.
Right. That's how I feel. Is like,
Yeah.
but it
and
makes me
love
feel
does
like
exist. People do care about each other.
somewhere out there.
Right now.
Yeah, right now. But yeah, it's like those moments are built for me, and I'm like, I love that. Like it gives you the
says
hope.
a lot about you looking for that.
Yeah. Well, I'm still a broken person that nobody loves, but we'll get
Oh, Tim, you're a great person.
there. Yeah. Well, all right.
Yeah. So let's turn the switch.
Let's not.
You're gonna have to get interviewed one of these days.
Every person says that, and I'm always like, oh. Well, actually, I say the same thing. I'm like, oh, it'd be funny if I interviewed myself and recorded 2 separate tracks of me interviewing myself. I think that would be good.
That sounds very time consuming.
Yeah.
But interesting.
Yeah, I think it'd be funny at least.
Yeah.
I just like, imagine having a real conversation with myself, be like, do you think that was the best decision you could have made? Do you wish you would have done better in your life?
Right.
Like, hey, guy, I thought this was going to be a
Yeah,
nice, fun
yeah.
podcast.
Like, what the fuck is this? Like, arguing with yourself? Be like, somebody call somebody for him. He's not going to be okay.
I'm going to skip right past bipolar and go into multiple personality.
Well, you're getting put in. That's about it. You're good to go with that. Yeah, no, and you know it's funny, like, going back to, like, how I knew that I really liked Dan is, like, this sounds so stupid, but I wanted to bring him around my friends.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
I wanted to bring him to social gatherings.
Yeah. And not for nothing, like, and we come from a big group of friends that's really close.
Yes.
And hard to get into.
Right.
As far as, like, bringing outsiders in.
Right.
Like, it's easy for them to be like, fuck that guy. Like,
Yeah,
you're not
right.
going to date him anymore.
Yeah.
Or I'm not going to see you anymore.
Well, yeah, it's like interesting. Like, if we all like were to like get together, I know like a lot of us, like, I haven't seen you in so long, but we've known each other a long time, and we come from the same group of friends.
Right.
But it's funny because like it is like that. And
Yeah.
I took him to one of Leisure's parties, and I'm like, everybody's gonna be there.
Yeah.
You know, and I know they all know him from high school.
That's my favorite
Well,
part.
shit,
Is
did they like him in high
everybody
school?
knew him, but nobody would have ever guessed that you two would end up together.
That's so funny that like you say that
Yeah.
because I didn't think about like other people's like reactions,
Yeah.
like, but it totally makes sense.
I don't know if
like,
anybody else did because like I
I
happen to be friends with Dan. Is it most people?
I've heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're just like, but how did you guys cross paths?
Right.
The internet.
Right. Yeah.
The internet in the kitchen.
I stalked him for 10 years after a one-time party.
I didn't stalk him, but I definitely did on Facebook for a little while.
And that'd be weird, actually, even to have that initial guttural reaction and then live the next 10 years of your life, that journey you went on, and then to see him again and be like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
and I was like, yeah. And I was
okay.
like, oh, he's still got his long hair. He's still attractive.
Can't believe this is a thing now.
Well, when I was like, yeah, he's not going to be. I wasn't going into it like,
yeah,
I'm
sure.
going to get him. You going to be mine, boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, he doesn't like, well, he probably judges me in his head sometimes, which is fair.
I bet that's not true, actually.
No?
I don't think he would judge you in his head. I don't think he would say anything that he wouldn't say to your face. I don't think he feels anything that he wouldn't say to your face.
Right, yeah.
Which I think that's what being a good person
Yeah.
is.
God, I know. Well, you know what he would tell me? He's like, I'm the nicest guy you ever meet. I'm like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, okay,
and I'm
asshole.
like, fuck, dude. Like, you're like one of the nicest people. I'm like, what is going on right now? Like,
But he's got that completely fabricated reputation and that look of I'm this metalhead tough guy, like
seriously.
like he looks a certain way, right? Like, 'cause
Right.
I deal with that too, where it's like until I open my mouth, I look very intimidating, and
Yeah.
then I open my mouth, people are like this guy.
Yeah. Look at that teddy bear.
Yeah, but they're the same way. Like he's got a certain image that he just exudes because how he lives his life.
Right.
It's not any deciphering thing of who he is as a person.
Right. I mean, he literally is like one of the most caring.
Yeah.
He's hilarious.
He is.
Which I think
I
a
feel
lot.
like he has a subtle humor to him.
Yeah, but like he's just weird like me. Like
Yeah.
I've always like, you know, me and the girls, we just our sense of humor. I mean, we're all like that because we're all friends, but
Yeah.
it's just like I always thought like it was a little too weird.
Really?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because sometimes people are like, Megan, and I'm like, oh, all right, well, you didn't take into that one. But I'm like, you're literally more weird than I am.
Yeah.
So I feel good.
It's one of the things I actually always admired about you girls as a group is if you were privy to be inside and like trusted, it's just like hanging out with the boys.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's like they're probably gonna be grosser and weirder if they trust you enough, but it's gonna be hilarious.
Yeah. Well, see, it's funny, like, my friends have always said, like, I try to keep my circle really small.
Yeah.
Because I'm very protective of my friends,
Yeah.
especially, like, my really close friends. But I am lucky enough that I can say I'm one of those adults who's, like, met their adult best friend.
Right.
So I met my friend Taylor through Maggie and Sam. And it's so funny because they said I'm very particular of who I let into the group. Like I'm the freaking cult leader or something, but whatever.
Well, there's, I think you probably put more.
There's the control again.
But anytime you put more than two people in a room, a hierarchy is going to form.
Well, right.
As long as everybody goes with it and nobody challenges it, it's going to naturally form.
Yeah. Well, I'm a dictator. What can I
Yeah,
say?
you're that guy.
Yeah. But it was funny because Taylor told me. She goes, yeah, I was going to go to Alanis Morissette, but the girls said, it might not be the best time for you to come in. And I go, what? And she goes, yeah, they said, well, you know, Megan's, she's picky in particular about who comes into the group, and our group's going to the concert, and it might not be a good time. I'm like, wow, I'm a raging bitch. Like, what? I fucking love her, dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, where the hell have you been?
Yeah.
Like, oh, in Chicago. Like,
Right.
she's from Ohio, but
Yeah.
she is such a good time. And she is, she's outspoken. She's honest. She's hilarious. She is also a writer. She loves music. And she is very caring and she protects her friends. And I admire that.
Yeah.
Because I value my friendships.
I've heard that game recognized game.
Yes, that's what it is. And I also love her because I'm 5 feet tall and she's 6 feet tall. So when we hang out, it's like big and little.
Yeah.
She says that too.
That's awesome.
Like that big sister, little sister group or whatever, you know, like
Yeah.
Boys and Girls Club or whatever. Like she's like.
Was it tough to deal with that reality of what you just learned about your friends in that particular situation? Like, did you resent them for that, or were you like, because realistically, it's amazing that you guys can love me such a way that you understand. I'm not doing that on purpose, and this is eye-opening for me, but I hear what you're saying.
Yes, I totally recognize that,
Yeah.
but I won't apologize for it.
Fair enough.
And it makes me sound like such a bad person, but
I don't think
you
so.
know, I mean, I am. I'm just particular about who I spend my time with, and I'm very protective of them, and I'm very protective of my friendships with them, because these girls, women, I should say women, we're not girls anymore, but are the longest friendships that I've, like, close, solid, all the time friendships that I've ever had. And Sam I knew a little bit beforehand, and obviously Maggie, but like, you know, like Vattina's one of my best friends, Bridget's one of my best friends, and I became friends with them when I was a senior in high school. So
yeah, I remember
you know?
when I was talking to Sam, I was like, I thought you guys were friends longer, based on how tight you guys all were. But I'm like, wow, it was really not that long.
Right.
Like, when you find your people, you find your people.
Right, exactly. And we have the best time and memories, and we're all just inside jokes and goofy. But it's so funny because, like, I recognize now that, like, we're all, like, associated together, and, like, back then it was like that was our group, and it was like if it was like Sam and Bridget and Vattina, where's Megan?
Right.
Or I'd
We
be
become
somewhere,
an entity.
Right, where's Vattina?
Yeah.
You know, like a shining twin, like where's the other person kind of thing. But I love that we're all still, you know, close. Bridget's married, has a little girl, and, you know, we're all growing up and doing our thing, and I'm just, you know, like all of you guys have, I think it's easier for men to have longer friendships.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, you did say earlier that you hated Vattina freshman year and then grew to love her, so...
Not hated. I loved her shoelaces.
As a man, I'm less catty.
Women aren't catty.
You're right.
No, we didn't. I think, if I'm recalling correctly, I didn't hate her. I think maybe we just didn't like each other. I don't know why. And I could be very wrong. Like, I don't actually recall like the feeling of not liking each other, but I think we had that conversation at some point. But she and I bonded over 311 in high school. Yeah. And we both have the same sense of humor, just laugh at the dumbest things. Like someone can just look at us at a restaurant, we just absolutely lose it. Like just one of those things, like people's faces and things like that.
I love how you guys live in your own little worlds. Yeah. And like, if you're not in on the joke, you're gonna feel like an asshole, or you're gonna think they're making fun of you, and like, hopefully they are.
Yeah, probably. Again, back to the reunion thing. Sitting we were like, me, Tina, and Bridget are like, yeah, we'll just be sitting over at that table, drinking, talking shit about everybody.
Yeah, right. Like, that's what you're supposed to do.
It makes us sound so terrible. No.
I just lean into it.
Yeah, it's actually funny. I'm getting brunch with Bridget today. I haven't seen her in a while, but that's exactly what will happen. We'll just someone will walk in and just like, you know, we'll be like, or just like make weird noises or whatever, and just end up laughing. Like,
yeah, I haven't talked to her forever. I actually, one of the big things for me is like loyalty for like little things. When people do something and like they didn't have to or they didn't need to, and like they did it anyways because they're a good person, and I really attached to that, and I will attach to that. Like I pack bond for life.
Well, absolutely.
So, like, I remember years ago, she was helping me try to find a job, and like, it was the only time, like, in our lives we really crossed paths, because we knew each other just from being around. But she really, like, tried to help me and do this stuff at the time. She was working for a placement center, and she's such an awesome person.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'm gonna like this person.
She is
forever.
literally one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, like, you don't expect it from her.
No.
And then when you talk to her, you're like, okay.
And I've told her, I'm like, that is one of my most favorite things about you since the moment I met you, is like, yeah, she's just like, that's just how she is. She's seriously, like, her humor is so wild. Yeah. But like, when we started becoming friends, I was like, I can be myself with these people.
Right.
I think which was really important. I've always been myself, but I've kind of like, I've
Yeah.
always been kind of kooky.
But you also know, but you also, you learn real fast where it's safe to do that.
Right.
Right.
Right. And I used to be told, like, by some people, like, I can handle you in doses. I'm like, wow, that's like one of the meanest things I've ever been told.
Yeah.
Thanks. I feel so great about myself.
Yeah.
Is your dose done? Can
Yeah.
I go?
Right. Because
Those girls
anytime you
have
ever
never-
see that person, now you're like, I have to tone it down.
Yeah. Or I don't want to hang out with you because I
Right.
feel like I'm annoying you.
Yeah.
And clearly you don't really like me for who I am.
It's a shitty thing to say. for
Right.
sure.
And I'm not going to change for you because
Yeah.
I'm just not going to change for
Also,
anybody.
fuck yourself.
Yeah, go fuck off. Okay, bye. You know, like whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if they've said anything about it, but they certainly love to spend time with me.
Yeah.
So,
But
yeah.
best you can hope for, realistically.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think they need small doses of me. But I mean, I wouldn't necessarily blame them. But yeah.
I don't know. Like we said before, it's nice to find your people.
Exactly. And that's I'm grateful for just growing up in Oswego too, because I still have these long-standing friendships. You know, I might not talk to somebody for like a year or two.
Yeah.
But like my friend that I grew up with in Boulder Hill, I hadn't seen her for quite a while, and you know, when my brother passed away, she was there.
Yeah.
I mean, there. Like, she called me. She drove down here from Wisconsin to go to his memorial that I put together.
Yeah.
Like, she was there, like, checking on me. I didn't talk to her in so long, but she's like, I'm showing up for you. And I would do the same for her. And I'm grateful to have those friendships, too, like growing up in Boulder Hill and,
Yeah.
you know, having grade school and then junior high together. But also sometimes I wish, like, I would have moved around.
Yeah.
Like, Maggie moved around a lot. I know you talked to her.
Yeah.
She was born in Waldorf, where Good Charlotte is from. I don't know if she told you that.
She told me where she grew up, but not that Good Charlotte is from there, which I'm glad to have missed.
We loved Good Charlotte
Yeah.
back in the day. She had a big poster in her room. Sorry, Maggie. I exposed you.
Yeah, she probably went out of her way not to tell me that.
Yeah. She's like, God damn you, Megan. It's just a standing joke. But it's funny because, like, I wish that I could have, like, seen different places and done that and,
Yeah.
like, made different friends. But, like, she would probably tell you that she wished that she was in a place longer. When she grew up, I mean, Oswego was the longest that she'd been somewhere.
Yeah.
But, like, she had to leave those friendships.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know.
And then when you're younger, you're getting ripped out of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, oh, it's hard to go into junior high. And then I'm like, I've never moved before. Like,
Yeah.
I've been in the same room.
Right.
You know, and then I moved out, and oh my God, I missed home like crazy. And I
Yeah.
felt guilty for it.
Like for leaving home or for...
I missed home.
Yeah.
Like, I missed my...
Because you said your parents still live in that place. Like,
Yeah.
And it's very stereotypical in movies. Like, a kid will come home after being an adult and, like, their room's still the same.
Yeah.
And I've never seen that. Like, it makes me sad, like, to never have had that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because my family split up and went different ways.
Yeah.
It's just, like, I could 100% see how it would be like, oh, I'm on my own now.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, oh, I have to cook? Shit.
I fucking
know?
hate cooking.
God, do you?
So much.
I love it.
It's one thing if you're doing it, like, as a team or for more than one person, right?
Yeah.
But, like, I'm really odd about how I value my time, and I do not value wasting my time cooking.
That's not odd. I mean, if you don't enjoy it, you don't
Yeah.
enjoy it. I mean,
Yeah.
Dan doesn't,
Yeah,
but I love cooking.
yeah. But I like to
Which-
eat food.
Well, fuck yeah. I mean,
But
I'll go out for Mexican food. Don't have to ask me
man,
twice.
I would love to get some Mexican food.
I love Pepe's. It's a guilty pleasure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I haven't been to Pepe's in so long.
It's so bad, it's good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, there's actually good taquerias around.
I know. Yeah, I had the girls come over when we were living, because we sold our house and we moved into my father-in-law's guest house to save up more money to buy.
Is that the
this.
St. Charles house? Because is that where you moved into?
Oh shit! So here's something funny. Is I'd never moved in my life. Where have we lived? I've moved 5 times with Dan.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. 5 times? Because he had the house in St. Charles.
Let's see. Where were we? Maybe it's not 5 times. St. Charles. Then we moved to a townhouse in Oswego. Then we moved, so it wasn't 5 times. Then we moved to Farmington Lakes in Oswego. Worst apartment ever. Nice pool. Could hear the people peeing downstairs.
Nice. That's what you want.
Yeah. And then we bought our house in Boulder Hill. Lived there for 6 years.
That's why I thought you guys still were.
Right. No, yeah, we sold it last June.
Okay, so it was not that long
Yeah.
ago.
And then we bought this house in Big Rock in December.
That's still like for your whole life staying in one spot, and then all of a sudden, like the last handful of years, you're like,
Let's keep packing and moving.
let's bounce around to 2 towns.
I know, and I'm like, I've lived in a house, I've lived in an
Yeah.
apartment, I've lived in a townhome, like,
Yeah.
I've experienced it all. But you know what's funny is if I wouldn't have met Dan, I would have moved out to the city.
You think so?
Guarantee would have got an apartment with Maggie,
Yeah.
or Maggie and Sam, and I would probably still be there.
I was gonna say that a large group of them went that year, like that Sam and Maggie went.
They migrated.
I didn't realize until I was talking to Maggie, and she unfortunately a lot of them aren't with us anymore, like Nick and Isaiah and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But there's like 8 people that all migrated out there.
In like 2008.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, they all left. Like,
Yeah.
bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, I think about that. Like, not that I am like sad that I didn't do it, but I'm like, that would have been
Yeah.
like, that was what I would have done.
Right. It's just another version
And
of
I
your life. Yeah.
would still be out there.
Yeah.
I assume. You know,
I
but
don't see why not.
but now I live in Big Rock,
Yeah.
population 1,004, because we
Yeah.
moved out here, I think. Cornfield across the street, and living in the country.
Do you think you would ever leave the state? Like, do you have any aspirations of moving?
I won't leave my parents.
Yeah.
Now that it's just
yeah,
me.
just you guys. Yeah.
And our family is like so tight.
Yeah.
Like so close that I'd be like, I can't leave my mommy and my daddy. I've always felt that way.
Yeah. Well, they couldn't live without their peanut.
No. Well, my dad's like, didn't you move out? He always says that because I come over and like, I'm like, you guys got any snacks? You guys got the cheese door? He's like, didn't you move out? I'm like, they told Dan no refunds when I moved. Sorry, no receipt, no refunds.
Yeah.
I don't know now that I have my nephew. If he remains here, I would probably stay here until he turned 18. That's such a long ways away,
Right,
and
yeah.
he's only 9 months.
Right.
But
Is that true? I feel like he should be older.
no, he was born in October. He's a Scorpio like his auntie, which my brother was like, Jesus.
Yeah.
He's
So
gonna
we
be-
need another
yeah.
scorpion.
I'm like, great. I'm like, well, you're a Cancer and Scorpio. I mean, my
Yeah.
poor parents. But yeah, so no, I kind of want to step in my brother's place, and his mother is gonna, need me, and we get along really well, and I help out as I can, and I started bartending like 2 years ago, which is really fun. I don't do it I don't think as much as I was,
Yeah.
but definitely last year oh my God, I was like overdoing my schedule like crazy, because that is something I do.
Yeah.
Like that's one of my reactions.
Let's say bury yourself in staying busy.
And then I'm completely exhausted.
Yeah, depleted.
And having a fucking mental breakdown.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know why.
It's almost like when you can look on the outside, it's almost laughable when you're like, well, no shit.
I know.
This is feeding into that, and this is feeding into
Yeah.
that. Like, how did you ever think this is going to be
I
sustainable?
know. Well, people, my friends and my parents were like, I think maybe like you need to kind of slow it down. And I'm like, no, everything's fine. I'm great. It's fantastic. I'm tired.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But if if it worked out, I would move out of the state.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to get a condo in Florida.
Yeah.
Like just like not a permanent place.
Sure.
But like a place to go, and
Absolutely.
then me being the hustler business person that I am,
Yeah.
definitely fucking rent it out.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
We pay for itself. Yeah.
Exactly. Dan and I had talked about moving to Portland
Yeah.
the second year after we got engaged. We were like, okay, let's save up money and move out there. And then like we went out. I had like an interview out there. I did like a phone interview for a company and everything. Like I
Yeah.
was like,
Legit,
we're gonna go. You know, we were looking at houses and stuff. And then we went out there the second time, and I was like, this is so overpopulated.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Like, oh my god,
Yeah.
we had a road rage incident with somebody.
Really?
Like I thought the guy was gonna shoot us. I was like, cause Dan flipped him off. I was like, dude.
Yeah.
I was like, don't do that. Like, oh my god. Like he was like staring at us in the rearview mirror, and I was like, this is it.
Right.
I'm gonna die in Portland.
This is it.
We're on our way to Cannon Beach. How romantic! Like, great. I'm gonna get shot.
I wish that was the time you got engaged, so that you were like
Right?
literally like almost murdered to engaged.
The damn dog, and then the psycho man.
Yeah.
was like shaking the whole time I'm driving to Cannon Beach. I'm like, oh my god, we didn't die. I'm like, one more brush with death, and I'm gonna lose it. Yeah. So I would love to get a condo in Florida. I wouldn't live down there permanently because
Yeah.
people are.
Well, it's Florida.
I mean, going to Walmart is a full Florida experience. Have you been?
It's like
Have you been to Walmart in
Yeah.
Florida?
Oh god, I couldn't imagine. Like it's funny because every Walmart, like you can be like, oh, this is like this shitty part of Florida, or this shitty part of Florida. Like
Walmart's Walmart.
Walmart is Walmart.
You know what I love about Walmart is I can look like the biggest piece of shit and nobody's gonna bat an eye at me.
Yeah, they're not even gonna notice. That's like when I get ready
No,
to go.
no offense. I shop at Walmart. I
Sure,
do.
yeah, me too. But like if I have to, first off, you don't have to go in anymore, which is amazing.
Yes, correct.
But like if I
Thank you, COVID.
Even if I have to go, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to put on socks and a real shirt, and I'm like, what? Why?
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna notice.
I saw a woman in there with ripped up pajama pants.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know the last time she washed them, and she had like a sports bra on that was like 5 sizes too small for her. Boy, she was in the produce section. She didn't give a shit. I was like, you know what? Good for her. Good for you.
Yeah, I
You get those discounts, boo-boo.
Yeah, I can appreciate the freedom of that.
But I don't need to see it.
But at the same time, like, try a little bit.
Well, and then I was thinking, I did think, like, she must not be very self-aware because people have phones. And listen, honey, I don't know if you've seen these videos of
There's
the
a
people
whole,
from Walmart.
whole website devoted
to the
dickheads
people from
like that.
of Walmart. Yes,
Yeah.
correct. Correct.
Also, they're all hilarious.
Oh my god, I love it. See,
Yeah.
that's the one thing about like social media and like the internet and stuff. Like I live for memes.
Yeah, well, they're so good.
I live.
That's whenever I see people arguing, I'm like, can you just be funny?
Yeah.
That's what the internet's for.
And like I don't know how to make a fucking TikTok. I don't.
I don't have a
Little
TikTok.
Grandma Megan.
Yeah.
But I will scroll through that. Like people falling down.
It's always funny.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like drunk grandmas.
Yeah, like you just
Like-
YouTube like people. There's 3 things that I like love: watching people fall down, cat videos in general.
Oh, the cats.
And then I'm a big sucker for Faith in Humanity Restored. Cause I'll just sit there and bawl my eyes out.
There, see, you are releasing.
I
You
have
are
to.
releasing it all.
I'm trying. I've got my mom on it because she's always complaining about the news and like everything sucks and politics. And I'm like, this. I'm
You
like,
wanna cheer up?
watch this. This is what life is actually like.
Yeah.
Not the bullshit narrative
Right.
they're spinning here.
Right.
Like this is what real people are like
Yeah.
when the chips are down.
Yeah. No, I love them. The video one or the dancing ones, I don't really care for. But yeah, the cat videos are awesome. There's a pig called Homer that I follow.
That's fantastic.
What do you do in your free time? Well, I'll let you know what Homer's up to.
Yeah, let me tell you about Homer.
Yeah, well, it's so cool. He has like his own bed. And it says Homer on it. And he's like this huge potbelly pig, and he's
Yeah.
got like little stuffed animals. And then they like put him to bed and wrap him up in like his favorite blanket. Tim, this is what my life has come
It's
to.
just so funny to be like, well, but here's the thing. He's got his own bed.
Yeah. And it says Homer on it. I literally have gotten a couple people into it.
That's fantastic. That's good.
They're
Getting
like,
those
did you
clicks.
see the video of Homer? I'm like, yes.
No.
I watch it every day.
I like the idea that you will have conversations about Homer later with somebody else.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely. I mean, fuck the news. Let's talk about Homer.
I do like that. I'd rather
Right?
if I turn on the news, I'd rather hear about Homer.
Like when I'm bartending and the World News is on, that show on Channel 7 at night, World News or whatever.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, they're like, something to brighten your day. And I'm like, could we just start with that?
Can we just have a whole half
Now we
hour
know
of
you're
it?
severely depressed. You know what they should do?
Yeah.
They should put Homer on it.
Yeah, not for nothing. I mean, that's smart.
No. Or I'll hook up my phone. I'd like to hook up my phone to one of the televisions.
Yeah.
And be like, you guys want to watch the news or do you want to watch Homer? Because I've got a year solid of videos.
Also on YouTube, you can watch live zoo cameras.
What?
Yeah. So like I watched the otters and the polar bears. I watched this stupid polar bear. I loved him so much. He's putting a bucket on his head, just jumping into the water.
But see, that's the happy stuff. Like
I like happy stuff.
You know what I mean? But it's like, sorry, I can't make it. The polar bear's putting a bucket on his head. Tim?
Yeah, I'm not going to be coming in today.
Yeah, sorry, I'm sick.
How you see what happens with this polar bear?
Oh God, I love it though. I didn't
It's
know that
amazing.
existed. I love watching movie trailers on YouTube.
I'm a
I don't like
sucker.
going to the movies.
Really? So
I don't like theaters.
I find I like a specific cinema experience. I also don't call them theaters because that's where plays happen. I call
Oh my God. What do you call it? A cinema?
the cinema.
Oh
yeah.
God, fancy.
I'm as pretentious as can be. But I love trailers because I do love movies, but I really only go to like comic book movies. If I had like a date or other people to go with, I'll go to other things, but usually it's just comic book films. And I like to go to the big IMAX, and I like to have a nice recliner. Like I want the
You
big
want,
full
like,
experience.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, and the movies
okay.
are built for that, so like it works. I think that's fun, but otherwise I'm like, yeah, we can skip the cinema.
Yeah, cinema. It's a theater.
No, that's where plays happen.
I also go to plays, just not a lot.
Yeah, but those are held in a theater.
Well, whatever you say. But so like, the
I'm completely full of shit.
right,
It's fine.
the hypersensitivity thing we were talking about, like, it
Yeah.
just sounds so stupid. Part of the reason why I can't go to the cinema is because I can't stand the sound of people opening up their bags of candy.
Yeah, so I
mean, it literally. I think I'm one of those sound people.
yeah, it definitely bothers me a
Whoa.
lot, unless it's like something funny. I just mentioned this in the last episode, also talking about Dan Walsh, because me, him, and Yunker went to see The Boy and the Heron, the new Miyazaki film, a while back.
Okay.
And it's fucking dead quiet in the cinema, and you just hear Walsh go, "Oh no!" And you hear 1,000 Reese's Pieces.
That is so him.
100%, yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That is
Like,
so him.
There's no, because that's already hilarious, and then I've got Yunker go, like I'm not dying here in the
Was
theater.
the theater busy?
It wasn't
Or
that
the
busy.
cinema? Oh my God. Oh, my face hurts. Oh my God, that's such
Yeah.
oh my
It
God.
was such a good time.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
I love those guys so much. Yeah, it was fun.
I love that you've all been friends for so long. I haven't seen Yunker in a really long time.
Yeah, it's nice. He's around a lot more. Like he's been divorced. He's incredibly. His girls are amazing, and he's like really living that life. Like he's got his girls most of the time, and
That's fantastic.
yeah, he's like. There's nothing bad to say about the guy, even if you tried. Like he's
Yeah.
a fucking incredible man. He's a beautiful man.
One of the funniest people.
He's uncomfortably funny, and like the way he's raising his girls is incredible.
I love that.
Yeah, he's teaching now too. So
Really?
he teaches where his girls go.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. He's pretty amazing, man.
Well, he can keep an eye on him.
Yeah, it's just funny too because I'm like, it's such a unique name, Yunker. So I gotta feel like people are like, and there's 3 of them in this school.
Yeah, like, oh, that's weird. Well, they kind of look like him.
Yeah.
I wonder what's happening.
I can't wait till they start like as their personalities develop and like we start realizing how like goofy they're gonna be and what they start thinking is funny.
Little lady Yunkers.
Oh my god, I can't wait.
Oh, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. What do you think is next for you guys then? Like we kind of settled in, like it here. Obviously, we know about the with your nephew and stuff. Like there's plans and stuff. What are you guys looking forward to next?
I think we are just looking forward to kind of starting this new chapter.
Yeah. We made it so long without the dog barking.
I know.
But like now it's like, oh, I guess we're gonna wrap things up with dogs like. Bleh.
Yeah, no, I think this is gonna be our home for a very, very long time. We're not going to move for a while. I made that very clear.
Yeah. This is an awesome house, though.
Thank you.
It's really cool.
It's really what we wanted.
Yeah. Like you said, I just don't even remember if we were recording it. You said it's well maintained.
Yeah.
Only one. It's older, but like
the bones
looks
are great.
Awesome. Yeah, the bones are great. But even like the design is like you can tell it's got that old feel to it.
Yeah.
But it's like there's something homey and nice about it.
Yeah. And we felt like that when we came in here. You know.
Yeah.
I'm
glad I didn't see all the gross colors you've been describing, though.
Well, you can go on the internet and, but yeah, just enjoying our new neighborhood and the house and just do our adventures. Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, we're simple.
Whatever life
people.
brings, eh?
Well. Yeah, more vacations, hopefully.
Yeah, vacations are good.
Yeah.
Where do you guys want to go? Anywhere particular?
Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm going on a cruise with Maggie, so that's one thing.
That's exciting.
I'm starting to say yes to things I've always said no to.
Yeah.
Because like Shane would never turn an opportunity down.
Right.
The only thing I say no to is skydiving.
Yeah.
But everybody's like, well, I mean, if it happens, you won't feel it. And I'm like, I feel so much better.
Yeah, that's not the right thing
to
say. You're supposed to say you won't die.
Thank you. So I told Dan, I was like, maybe we'll start with the indoor skydiving place.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not skydiving.
He won't either?
No.
It's funny because I want to do, like, you have to do it tandem for X amount of time. I would like to be able to get good enough at it to go alone.
I don't think I could handle that.
I don't know that I could either. That's why I haven't.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm too fat to go.
Oh, stop it. How many times have you skydived?
0. Because you have to weigh you have to be at a certain threshold.
Well, I don't know. I probably can't go.
You're 5 foot.
I guess we're both screwed.
Well, it's secretly saving our lives.
Yeah, well, you know what? Come on now. This is the whole point of this.
That's why I put the weight on.
Live your life.
I put the weight on so I wouldn't have to skydive.
You can't chuck me out that fucking plane.
Yeah, nobody's chucking me anyway.
No. I know. I would love to go.
Would you bungee jump?
I have.
Oh, you have bungee jump?
Yeah.
See, I feel like
I've done the thing where they drop you and you
that sounds more dangerous to me. Which is dumb when I just said it out loud.
Yeah, I bungee jumped off the, years ago, I bungee jumped off the crane at the Sandwich Fair.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. But I won't.
But to be fair, there's at least like, you're like, all right, if this breaks, I'm going to land on this pillow.
Yeah, no, and I won't go parasailing. I don't know.
Well, that one's just weird.
Is it?
Parasailing?
Yeah.
Is it? Unless it's not what I think it is. Is it just when you're on like there's like a sail and like you're on like a
No, you're on a boat and they put you up with a parachute and shit and dip you down and Jaws bites off your toes.
I don't like that part, but I like the other part when you're in the air.
Yeah.
Do you have to have both parts? I feel like you don't have to get bitten off.
No, I don't know. You see, I'm going dark here. I'm going into the. I'm gonna have to go upstairs and cry about it now. No, but I'm going on a cruise with Maggie in October. We're going. I always said I would never go. And I was like, okay, I'll go.
Sounds awesome. I think it sounds
and Dan didn't want to go, and I'm like, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
And Maggie's like, well, yeah, we're gonna go.
There's a D&D cruise I've been trying to talk Walsh into going with me on.
Really?
I think it'd be so
How
fun.
big is the ship?
I don't know.
It's like this.
It's gonna end up just being
kidding.
me and him. Like, now we can finally bond.
Well, it's funny because I know we're wrapping it up, but it's like a 7-day cruise. So I'm like, we fully fucking committed to this.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, we're going to Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, and St. Thomas.
Wow.
So we got like a balcony room and all that, and then it's like actually like a group of people I know from where I bartend.
Yeah.
And one of the bartenders who's become a good friend of mine is like a big cruiser. So like he's put this whole thing together. So like I literally don't have control of it, but I don't have to worry about it.
Right.
Like I know where to go to dinner if I make it at 8:30 because I did buy the drink package.
Nice. That's smart. Real
15
smart.
drinks a day.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, indeed.
They don't fuck around.
No.
Eh?
And we're bringing a 24-pack of our beloved Diet Coke, so we don't have to spend any of it on pop. So.
It's smart. It sounds like
Yeah.
a good time. When does
We're connoisseurs.
When is that set in sale?
So it sails from the 13th to the 20th, and we fly into Miami on the 12th, and then we're gonna fly.
Is that this month?
No, October. Sorry.
Oh, October,
Yeah.
okay.
During my 20-year reunion, so I can't make it
Nice.
because I'll be
Living life,
yeah.
living large.
And yes, and there's a freaking roller coaster.
People are
on
gonna
the
be
ship.
like, "Where's Meg and Meg?"
Yeah.
Be like, "Those broads are on a cruise, living life. What are you
Yeah, we
idiots
are.
doing?"
Yeah, they're on their 13th drink. They don't know where the hell they are, but they're having a good time. They're on the boat somewhere. I guess that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So looking forward to that, and yeah, just this year's been good and happier, and
Yeah.
happy you asked me to do this. Hopefully, it wasn't too depressing for people,
I don't think so.
and they hopefully got something out of it.
Not for nothing, like people. Unfortunately, because people like us are kind of used to this. We have that dark sense of humor where we laugh through it a lot.
You have to.
Yeah, I agree. Like you have to. We wouldn't have made it if we couldn't.
Right.
So I'm hoping that that's what bleeds through is like, okay, you're not alone, and it's okay to laugh at these things. Like it doesn't make them any less tragic.
Right.
But like if you can laugh at it, you can get through it.
Right.
Like
Hell, if you're not, I mean, what are you gonna do otherwise?
like life's so absurd sometimes. You just have to be like, Jesus Christ.
I know.
Okay.
Like, okay, round 7 or 8,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I guess I'll keep carrying this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that's awesome. I appreciate you finding the time. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for doing the show.
I know I was kind of all over the place.
I'm all over the place too, so I feel like
It's like listening to a conversation. I mean, I guess that's
yeah.
what it is.
I hope people are like,
Yeah.
these fucking assholes.
Yeah.
Will they stick with one point for
No!
yeah.
Pay attention.
What I like is when we go back and listen to it, we're gonna be like, oh, there's a million loose threads
Yeah.
that we forgot to go tie up. And this conversation makes no sense.
Do they both have ADHD or what?